What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another edition, guys, of the Halas Hangover with four-star Chicago sports. We'll get you all caught up on OTAs, guys, who's impressed and who hasn't. Will Caleb get the bag? And what's the future outcome look like for the teams in the NFC North, guys? That and more after this. Of course, this video's not
Good job, Brandon.
here.
Windy City banners rocking 4 stars align. Dynasty dreams rise, Bulls in their prime. Cubs curse shattered, the victory divine. Fields be running, clock ticking on my timeline. Shot-town heroes, legends never fade. Black Hawks flying, cutting ice with the blade. White Sox diamonds, the Southside parade. 4 stars shine bright, legacies they made. Mike with the crown, air rain, no dispute. Sweetness in the backfield, Walter in pursuit. Bear down Sunday's midfield, battles cute. Chicago's.
What's going on, everyone? Thanks for joining us again for the Halas Hangover. I am here with Sean. We are here without Sean, guys, tonight. He'll be spending some time with his family moving forward. It sounds like we will probably have him now and again on a Monday night, but all the same, it is me, Dustin, and Kyle. How you feeling tonight, fellas?
Good, man. I'm in my truck. Had some shit
Yeah, I was
come
gonna
up.
say you should be hosting, man. You're in the driver's seat.
Gotta be.
Kyle,
Yeah, no.
Kyle.
Life is good. Ready to roll. How's my sound?
Sounds good.
man.
All right, cool.
I'm good, man. I just got back from the splash park with my daughter. Beautiful day outside today. It was like 75
It
degrees,
is.
sunny. Nice little breeze
It
out
is.
there, man. Wasn't too hot, so can't complain.
Yeah, it's been weird. Like 50 degrees in the morning, but cool 75 by midday. Kyle, I'm sure you've been able to keep up. Yeah, for sure. Windows down kind of day. I got my patio door open here. I know there's been a lot going on in OTAs. I know Jaylon Johnson had a big day, a couple interceptions. I don't know if it was against Caleb or Bayesian or who he was playing against when he was able to do that. But Kyle, I know you're probably a little more up to speed than I am on this. I haven't really had a chance this weekend to dive into how the Bears OTAs finished. But what's the news coming from Bears camp?
It was minicamp, just to be clear. OTAs were
Sorry.
done. Yeah.
Mandatory minicamp. So this is the one where you
Correct.
expect to see everybody at minicamp unless obviously somebody's holding out, which the Bears had none of. They did have a couple guys missing, but that's more due to rest days and injury. Obviously, everybody knows about Kyler Gordon. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good and a lot of bad, man. I mean, there's obviously with the first few days of OTAs, a lot of people were very hard on Tyreek Stevenson. He got burned by Rome Odunze. He got burned by rookie wide receiver Zavion Thomas. But according to Brad Biggs, he did look a lot better in their mandatory minicamp. Jaylon Johnson, as you mentioned earlier, had a day with 2 interceptions. One of those interceptions did come from Caleb Williams. I believe they actually both did. One of them, though, Montez Sweat had Caleb Williams wrapped up. Caleb Williams threw the ball anyway. I bet you in a regular season game, he probably holds on to that ball. But, yeah, if you listen to all the reporters and all the beat writers at mandatory minicamp, it sounds like Jaylon Johnson kind of stole the show. Looks like he's getting back to true form, probably a little bit healthier than he was last season, obviously. Montez Sweat had a big mandatory minicamp. Obviously, if you guys listen to the pressers, Ben Johnson called him out specifically, said he was coming off his best season as a professional, and he's looking to carry it into the next season. He had a ton of pressures on Caleb Williams, 2 of which for sure would have been sacks. I'm sure you guys heard that Kobe Bryant had a sack that, according to Brad Biggs, would have been a kill shot if it was a regular season game. Obviously, he laid up. They're not allowed to tackle the quarterback. Khalif Raymond and Luther Burden have both been making tons of plays in OTAs and training camp. It sounds like right now, guys, and obviously there's still a lot of football to be played. We have training camp, we have preseason, but right now, if the season started today, it sounds like Khalif Raymond is almost guaranteed that number 3 spot in the Bears receiving rotation. Both Deo Adebingo and TJ Edwards showed progress in the recovery. Unfortunately, guys, somebody who did not is Shemar Turner, who I don't believe has taken a single snap in any of this offseason program so far. But like I said, a lot of good, a lot of bad. Some guys who have been dealing with injuries in the mandatory minicamp: Kyler Gordon, DeMarco Jackson, obviously Noah Sewell, Shemar Turner, Ruben Hippolyte. I don't know if that's an injury situation or like maybe they're just training with him elsewhere. I don't know what's going on there. Keyshawn Elliott missed practice. Cam Lewis, Obviously, I don't think he played at all during mandatory minicamp. That should be a concern for Bears fans.
And no one noticed or cared.
Yeah. Well, the only thing is right now, and obviously you guys, the depth chart is not final, but right now they do have him slotted in as the backup to Kyler Gordon. So I guess that would be a little concerning, but I really don't think they know how it's going to go. I don't think they know exactly where Muhammad's going to play. And who knows where Tyreek Stevenson's going to end up this year. They have a lot of options.
Malik Muhammad is going to fill that role if Kyler Gordon can't go.
Yeah, you would assume so, right? And then you would probably say Terrell Smith's the backup to Stevenson and Jaylon Johnson if one of those guys misses a game.
And you got Josh Blackwell, too. Josh Blackwell as well.
Obviously, guys, Ozzie Trapillo didn't participate in anything. We might not even see him this season. James Lynch got banged up. Neville Gallimore got banged up. And Tyreek Stevenson got banged up, but did come back the next day. Jonah Jackson and Joe Tooney had really easy mandatory mini camps. They didn't really do much, did not participate in team drills. But I think, once again, that's one of those more of those veteran days off kind of thing. And then in terms of highlights, you talked about Jaylon Johnson's 2 interceptions. He had 2 or 3 pass breakups as well, as did Tyreek Stevenson. Brad Biggs said Tyreek Stevenson probably had the best day of anybody on the last day of minicamp. Roma Dunze looked really good this offseason. These programs, he caught a few long passes from Caleb Williams, one of which I'm sure you guys saw. The highlight was all over Instagram and social media.
When he burned Tyreek Stevenson.
Yeah. Guilty throw by Caleb Williams that looked a lot like the throw that's made him famous. Outside of that, man, I mean, you've seen flashes from Zavion Thomas. Kobe Bryant's been all over the field. A lot of people saying that he's going to be the Bears' secret weapon this season.
I think, Kyle, you're burying the lead. I really do. Because Zavion Thomas, by all accounts, just can't stop making plays in these practices.
Yeah.
Zavion Thomas, this is something I wanted to talk about. There's 2 things that you mentioned that I want to talk about.
Real quick.
The Zavion Thomas thing, man, there's something real there. This guy's going to be a bigger part of this offense than we were expecting.
Sure. But
Pearson said that last week.
And he is playing with the 2s and 3s guys. He has not. He's a couple snaps with the 1, so he's not playing the best defender in the world. But and then Scotty Miller had a really deep catch touchdown from Case Keenum late in the last day of practice. But yeah, I mean, besides that, guys, I mean, I think most of you guys, we've talked about most of the stuff that happened in OTAs and then the first day mandatory minicamp. So if you guys want to get into Zavion Thomas and the flashes he's been making this offseason, I'd be more than happy to talk about it. By the way, real quick, not to cut you off, Dustin, but real quick, Zach Pearson said he did not see him line up and running back. Multiple reporters have said that he has
lined up out of the backfield. Yes.
So I think maybe that was just a part of the practice that Zach Pearson wasn't at. I'm not calling Zach Pearson out, but yeah, he has lined up in the backfield numerous times now. So,
well, Zach Pearson was on this show last week saying that he would say Scotty Miller was first in line for that wide receiver 3, and I almost threw up in my mouth. Khalif Raymond is the guy that I think it will be, and that makes sense, Kyle, you saying that. But I was not happy to hear Scotty Miller might be that guy from a guy that's at these practices. But Zavion Thomas, man, is a guy that might usurp both of those guys in that pecking order if he keeps making the big plays that he's making. And whether it's against 2 or 3s, Kyle, to me it's more about the skill set he provides, that 4.28 speed, his ability to take it out of the backfield, like you just said. Like, he's just going to be a guy that's going to be really hard to keep off the field if he keeps making plays. It's something that I'm kind of excited about.
Yeah,
I don't want to dive too deep into it, guys. Romy did throw in the chat real quick, guys. The Bulls did make an official hire at head coach in Tiago Splitter, who was.
I like the hire, man. If it wasn't going to be Sean Sweeney, I thought Splitter was the next best option. I like the hire. I think he can grow with the young core as a coach. Obviously, he just took those Blazers to the playoffs, and they're not that good of a team. They got a first-round draw with the Spurs, so that didn't go well for them. But I like Tiago Splitter. I like this hire for the Bulls. I like everything the Bulls are doing, just to throw that out there.
Yeah, we talked about this offseason about how the trust of the veterans. I think you're probably going to see Khalif Raymond start at that number 3 position. And, obviously you guys I'm sure you guys listened to Ben Johnson's presser. He talked about Khalif Raymond a ton, man. I think that was probably the longest segment of his entire presser, is how impressed he's been. Looks like he's got a chip on his shoulder. He looks like he's faster than he was in years past. A lot of different things you could do with him. They consider them their secret weapon. But yeah, I think probably Zavion Thomas being groomed to take over that role. That's why Raymond wasn't signed to a multi-year contract, and they drafted Zavion Thomas.
Well, Raymond as well, Kyle, brings the leadership. And I mean, you read the report. I don't know if everybody read it this week. It came out that, Raymond went and told Caleb, like, he was getting frustrated by a mistake he made, and visibly frustrated. And Khalif Raymond went to him and said, "Hey, man, everybody's looking at you. You got to be better than that." Like that shit is gonna get Raymond on the field. Like you said, the trust in the veterans. Ben Johnson is huge on that. Khalif Raymond brings leadership that none of these other guys can bring.
Yeah, and he had a
Yeah, there's
day
actually
and
a clip from I think it was Gallimore talking to Jervon Dexter, trying to give him some advice too, which I thought was pretty cool. He told Dexter, like, you're a very large man. You need to use it.
Act like it.
Like, you need to own it, man.
Yeah.
And another thing, guys, the short on the heels, we're going to watch the Malik Muhammad, Cam Lewis thing. We're going to watch the Logan Jones, Garrett Bradbury thing. Bradbury's been playing with the ones. We're going to watch the Zavion Thomas thing with Cleve Raymond. The one thing that I did read, the one thing I was able to read from camp that I was pretty disappointed about is right now Braxton Jones has a foot ahead in the race between him and Jedrick Mills, and it's really just the best of the worst.
You keep calling him Jedrick Mills, man.
Wills, sorry.
Yeah.
It's really just the best of the worst. Neither one of these players are impressing their coaches.
Well, and Jedrick Wills, I don't know if you guys have been listening or not, but he is still dealing with some sort of injury.
He's not participating much, so of course Braxton has the
for a guy who's spent a lot of his career on the injured list. It's not a good start for him this offseason. Yeah, real quick, guys. Cornelius in the house.
Nice with an injury after a year off of football.
We appreciate you being here, man. He says, after Colston Loveland, I'm surprised that anyone would doubt Ben Johnson's ability to find offseason or offensive talent for this offense. Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a doubt. Cornelius I think
there's just a lot of weapons. There's a lot of weapons and veterans that were already on this team.
I'm assuming he's probably talking about.
I think he's referring to Zavion Thomas.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily the people were upset with Zavion Thomas, more upset with where he was drafted. Like if the Bears had drafted Zavion Thomas in the 5th round, you may have not heard peep about it from the Bears fan base. But the fact that he was ranked number 220 out of all the receivers, and he was picked like number 25 or something like that. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but I think that's more or less what Bears fans are upset with. I don't think I haven't heard any Bears fans say they don't think Zavion Thomas is going to be good.
But that is
they were just
kind
upset with where he was.
In respect to this is kind of the same argument as you could
Colston
Loveland.
Colston Loveland was projected to be a first-round talent, and but according to all reports, there was numerous teams trying to trade up with the Bears to acquire Colston Loveland. I didn't hear anybody trying to trade up for Zavion Thomas in the 3rd round. Listen, like I said, I think Ben Johnson's going to do great things with Zavion Thomas. I will stand. I'm not going to change my opinion just because we're now 2 weeks into the offseason. I just don't. I think they could have got him in the 4th round. You could have got another player with him.
The more it goes on. The more it goes on, I love this fucking pick, and I think Ben Johnson, like you said, is going to do some great shit with this kid in this offense. Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I think it's gonna pay dividends. The Bears needed this guy.
Yeah, and if he ends up
using him,
and if he ends up being what some of the experts say he could be, his potential, if he reaches that, then Bears fans will never talk about where he got drafted.
Dante, that's my second cousin twice removed.
Dante thinks me and Kyle look alike. Dante's wife thinks me and Kyle look alike.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see the competition in training camp, guys. It sucks because obviously we have to wait almost another 2 months before real football actually starts being played with pads on. But I am super excited for the competition that the Bears brought in the building here. I think it's probably going to be maybe a couple weeks before Raymond and Caleb are on the same page, or Zavion Thomas really gets some significant playing time. So you might miss DJ Moore for those first couple weeks of the season. But listen, when somebody like DJ Moore leaves the building, it's DJ Moore, and I know dare I mention his name, Zacchaeus. You lost 150 targets between those two from last season. Somebody's got to catch those passes, and it's going to be up to us.
Like 100 drops from Zacchaeus.
Luther Burden's going to be more involved. Obviously, Colston Loveland's going to have more targets this year, but you expect either Khalif or Zavion Thomas to pick up the slack for sure.
Kyle, I'm not worried about it at all with this offense and the players that they have, the skill set of players that they have, and how well they all kind of complement each other. I mean, Zavion Thomas is just another wrinkle added, the way I'm looking at it. Like certain plays that you couldn't run with any player you had last year, you're going to be able to draw up if you're Ben Johnson, and he's just going to complement what Luther Burden and Rome and Colston Loveland do. I don't think there's any lack of talent in terms of receiving weapons, offensive weapons in general on this team, even with the loss of DJ Moore, man. I think these guys are going to step right into bigger roles in a very nice way. You brought up Rome Odunze in your rundown. Rome Odunze is going to make motherfuckers remember why he was drafted at number 9. I'm just, again, I'll keep beating that drum. till
Yeah,
it
well,
comes
and
to
we're gonna.
fruition.
I don't know about who you guys are going to talk about later in the show, but I'll be talking about Rome Dunze later in the show as well. But yeah, I mean, listen, all I'm saying is to Bears fans, temper your expectations. Like if the first 3 weeks of the season, Zavion Thomas has 6 catches for 64 yards, don't just think he's a bust. Sometimes it takes these guys a long
Yeah,
time to get
look what
integrated.
Colston Loveland was doing in the
Yeah,
first
exactly.
8 weeks of the season.
Same as Khalif Raymond. I mean, listen, I know he's played for Ben Johnson before. I know he's comfortable in this offense, but that doesn't necessarily mean that him and Caleb Williams are going to be on fire together the first week of the season, or they're going to be on the same page constantly. It takes some time to build that continuity. I'm happy. Dustin, I'm with you. I'm happy with the offense. I don't think the Bears are going to skip a beat because they lost a guy like DJ Moore. Although I do.
Oh yeah,
love
they're
DJ
going to come
Moore.
out firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, and they're probably going to be better. They're probably going to be better this season. They were off season. You're a bunch of Bears fans who were ignorant and are like, "Oh, that's because DJ Moore sucked." No, it's because they're in the second year of offense with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams getting more comfortable.
It's Caleb.
The player,
trajectory is up.
The player I would expect, even above maybe Khalif Raymond and definitely Zavion Thomas, I would expect Sam Roush to make an impact on the receiving side of this offense before those other two guys in regards to where those target share go. Kyle, that you're talking about, Luther Burden will obviously have a much greater role here. It's going to be the Luther, Colston, and Rome show. But I do expect Roush to be a big part of this offense.
Yeah, we hadn't even mentioned him yet, and that's just another mouth to feed. So, I mean, when it comes to the Zavion Thomas thing, it's like he's going to have to earn it because there's a lot of veterans in front of him. There's a lot of guys that already have worked in this offense and got targets last year that he's going to have to start beating out to get on the field. But I think once Ben Johnson figures out how to use this kid, it's going to be special to watch.
Yeah, and I'm not ousting Sam Roush, guys. I've read every report from the mandatory minicamp. I've watched every highlight I can possibly find. I haven't seen Sam Roush in any single article. I haven't seen him in any highlight tape. He's probably working more on footwork and the line work, be playing more blocking right now than he is receiving, just because they still have Cole Kmet here. Obviously, Colston Loveland, we all expect him to take the next step. I think Sam Roush's role in this offense is going to continue to grow as the season goes on. But I would expect early in the season for Sam Roush to be more of a blocker, just because of I think it's easier to learn, and it gets you get calloused up, you get some actual NFL playing time, you get to see the field, and then the more comfortable he gets in this offense, the more NFL slows down for him. You'll probably start to see them sneak him out of there. I mean, listen, guys. With the fact that Sam Roush and Cole Kmet are interchangeable, the fact that Khalif Raymond and Zavion Thomas are interchangeable, the fact that Rome Dunze and Luther Burden are it makes this offense very, very hard to predict, and they can line up in the exact same in the exact same look every single play, and it could be a completely different play every single time they snap the ball. It's got to be tough for NFL defenses. The Bears offense is going to have to carry this team, and I think they're going to. I think they're the
reason I think that Sam Roush will make a big impact as a receiver is because of what you just said. I think they're going to be able to utilize Roush as a blocker, and he'll kind of be forgotten about. And that was something he did really well in college. This guy is good at disguising himself in blocking early in a play and then finding a route, a flat. And Caleb's we really want to see Caleb guys exploit these passes in the flat, these open players instead of looking downfield. Roush is probably going to be a really strong piece in regards to that. Dustin, anything else about
Caleb has to get better at those throws as well, and I think we all expect him to take a step forward when it comes to ball location, right? I mean, because even you heard Ben Johnson
first podcast on a stakeout.
Yeah, I was just about to tell J2K Johnny Utah just went to go get me 2 meatball sandwiches. So, no, listen, what I got the other thing I do want to mention is it's just funny that last week and the conversation went, we were kind of on both sides of it, but I wanted to talk about Jaylon Johnson and him getting back to form and adding him back to this defense, and basically you're adding a Pro Bowl free agent cornerback back to your defense that you didn't have last year, because regardless of the fact that he played 8 games or whatever it was, he was never full. And then he dominates. He goes out and kicks ass in these mini camps, and I think that's a big deal. I think Jaylon Johnson is getting back to full health, and that's just going to be a huge deal for this defense. It's going to make a giant impact, regardless of if you think he's a cover corner, more of the cover 2 scheme that fits him better. I think he's a pro. I think he's got a lot of physical abilities and talent, and you're going to see him adjust well to this defense and make a big impact. I really think that.
Yeah, and real quick to that point, Dustin, I want to draw. I know everybody's seen the video. I sent it to you guys today. I'm sure you guys saw it already. But the video of Caleb Williams hitting Luther Burden down the field over Jaylon Johnson's shoulder. First of all, guys, it's mandatory minicamp. These guys aren't wearing pads. Some of this stuff, I think Zach Pearson said it best when he said, when you're playing 7-on-7s in practice, the ball should never touch the floor. I mean, it's just they're not going.
Yeah, it just benefits the offense always.
Yeah, and you know what? If Luther Burden is the guy we think he's going to be, I think he's going to do that to a lot of good corners in the NFL. I think he's going to do that to a lot of good corners. You're going to see him burn a lot of people. I wouldn't necessarily look at that as negative, more as a positive that Luther Burden is obviously getting comfortable in this offense. I agree with you, Dustin. I mean, for a guy, you basically didn't have him last year. I know, like you just said, people are like, well, you did play you guys, you could tell, step slow, not comfortable, didn't play every down, certainly not 100%.
Yeah, he was on a major snap count those first 3 or 4 games.
Yeah.
Do we know Cornelius?
And at the same time.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. And at the same time, I know that people, I know J2, I remember who was in the chat last week, gave me a ton of grief for this, but you guys, learning a new defense is just as hard as learning a new offense. And Jaylon Johnson had to learn it in basically 8 weeks while he was still injured. I think when you get him back healthy and he's more comfortable in Dennis Allen's scheme, you're talking about, like you said, Dustin, you're talking about maybe a top 10 corner that you're just getting as basically a free agent. He wasn't even here last year on a defense that struggled mightily, particularly the pass defense. And now you're getting what could be a top 10 corner in all the NFL back on the field. That's a huge deal. And that could absolutely turn this defense around. Like I said, when I say things like that, people are like, oh, you think they're going to be top 5? No, absolutely not. But you're talking about a defense
15 to 20 is good enough.
Yeah, if you were
20 is good enough.
You were ranked 29th in terms of pass defense. I think you could certainly get to 16, 17.
That's a good enough improvement, especially when you consider that with that defense and this offense, you win 11-6 and won the NFC North. So if the defense does improve by basically half in terms of its overall ranking, you don't think that makes an impact on winning? It 100% does. It 100% does.
And if you guys watch the Bear Their podcast, Jason has said many a time now, which I think is a really good point. If they allowed 21, 22 points per game, that puts them right in the middle of the pack. That the Bears would win a lot of games because you expect the Bears to average 26, 27, 28 points per game. Somewhere in
28, 30.
If their defense can hold these teams to 3 touchdowns or less, and the Bears continue to build off what they did last year as an offense, I think they're in line to win a lot of games. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's the toughest schedule in the NFL. Yeah, we say that every year, and then it never turns to fruition. It just never plays out that way. The Bears had the toughest schedule in the NFL last year, and they ended up playing 7 backup quarterbacks, 8 backup quarterbacks. You just never know how the season's going to play out. Mm-hmm. I don't know, man. We're going to get into the NFC North here in a second, but I like the Bears' chances to repeat in this division. I like their chances to go back to the playoffs and maybe even go deeper this year. And Vernon, I know you wanted to talk about how do you measure success for the 2026 Bears? Do you have to be better than you were last year?
Real quick.
Shemar Turner, man.
Yeah,
Shemar Turner.
In regards to camp, Shemar Turner and Tyree Stevenson and Bush, and I mean, we're talking about on the defensive side of football. A lot of banged up. Cam Lewis, Kyler Gordon, not a good start, guys, on the side of the ball.
PJ Edwards
was missing a lot of football players last year.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of we can talk about it more if you guys want. Obviously, Kyler Gordon dealing with the soft tissue injury. We've talked about this basically every show here that it's not a good start.
These are non-contact.
Ben Johnson brought his name up in the presser a couple weeks ago.
Ben Johnson brought up Shemar Turner's name too, and they're not happy with where he's at.
Yeah, it was weird because if you listen to the Ben Johnson's interview, you're like, man, that doesn't sound good for Shemar Turner. But then you listen to Ryan Poles' interview, and it's like, yeah, we have confidence that he's going to be back.
Well, Ryan Poles drafted that motherfucker. That's why.
And they still have a lot of confidence in him. They still think he's going to be a damn good player. Yeah, I mean, here's the problem, guys. When it comes to these injuries, I mean, obviously there's not much to talk about right now, but when you're talking about mandatory minicamp, I just don't know how much of these. I mean, obviously the younger guys, like Kyler Gordon, a guy who's only been with Dennis Allen for less than a year now because he didn't play at all last season, probably concerning. When you talk about some of the older guys, like I know Montez Sweat missed a couple practices. I think that's probably more them just saying, hey, Montez, take it easy. You're 30 years old now. You've been in the NFL for a long time. You're a seasoned vet. You probably take a rest day here or there. Yeah. I mean,
Shemar Turner is concerning, Kyle. Shemar Turner had multiple surgeries in college.
Yeah,
was injured on that last season. It was season-ending ACL injury this past year, and he's still not even getting close back to form from what our coach is telling us. Guy was a second-round pick. There was a lot of good defensive tackles on the board when they took him. So, I mean, like, that could really hurt you when you're banking on improvement from a lot of these guys for your defensive line play to improve. And Shemar Turner needs to be a big part of that. And if he's not this year, you're looking at bust territory. That is concerning. Not just because it's minicamp. he's got a lot of injury history already, man. That scares me. It worries me.
Yeah, for sure. The only thing I'll say, and I'm like, just in his defense, I guess, just to be the devil's advocate here, is if there was an article that came out weeks before mandatory minicamp that said they did not expect him to participate. Now, like if they had said, "Hey, he's going to participate in mandatory minicamp,"
Like it's a setback.
yeah, like that would scare the shit out of me. And especially Dustin, like you just said, for a guy who is now dealing with his second major injury in as many years, right? I think back-to-back years, the broken leg and the torn ACL. Yeah, listen, it has not been a good start for Shemar Turner. There's no doubt about it. And it's not necessarily any fault to his own. It's not like he's not a good player, but if you're not on the field,
can't get on the field.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You could be it's like Kyler Gordon, right? He's probably one of the best Chicago Bears.
That one's concerning too, Kyle, because you go back to last year and soft tissue kept them out all year, and now we're dealing with it again.
There's somebody.
All the injuries we've listed in non-contact practices are on the defensive side of football once again. So it's something the Bears definitely have to be concerned about. Kyle, I did want to. We didn't really list this as a segment, but I am curious because this Bears fan base always has high expectations and can never seem to temper them. What is a team who went to a divisional round of the playoffs last year?
Hold on, Brendan. You guys want to answer Dante's question real quick from the chat here? It says FSCS. Any expectations for Terrell Smith? I said earlier in the show, I don't know if you're here or not, Dante. I think Terrell Smith, if healthy, obviously, I think he would be the backup to Jaylon Johnson and Tyreek Stevenson. And I think Malik Muhammad would probably be your backup to Kyler Gordon. If you guys heard the Malik Muhammad interview in the offseason here, he said the first 2 days that he was in the building, they had him practicing solely at nickel. But I think the expectation is for him to play everywhere at the end of the day. But so far, he has played almost 90% nickel. So I think that probably is their immediate backup plan for Kyler Gordon getting injured, and we just talked about it. They certainly should have one because Kyler Gordon has missed 25
Muhammad for that reason.
Yeah, he's had 24 missed games in 4 NFL seasons, guys. You need to start having a backup plan. This is the same conversations we had with Mike Brown, the old Bears safety from the early 2000s. I mean, the guy was absolutely phenomenal talent, one of the best players on the Chicago Bears, but if you're not there, it doesn't matter. And I think Malik Muhammad is probably their security blanket or insurance plan if Kyler Gordon misses a big chunk of time this year. I mean, do you guys disagree? Do you think there's a
Terrell Smith is solid, man? Terrell Smith is solid. He always just kind of does his job. Now hopefully people remember, like when he was getting more rotation in the season prior, he got beat a lot too. So I mean, like he's younger, he's coming up, he's figuring it out. A season lost to injury doesn't help, but I would expect him to just be a solid rotational guy for you. I like the upside of a Malik Muhammad a lot more, and I agree with Brandon. I mean, like the nickel position makes a lot of sense for him if you're talking about Kyler Gordon injuries because you're getting the best possible talent on the field. Malik Muhammad brings a lot of just raw talent and athleticism that you're going to want to take advantage of if you're the Chicago Bears over a guy like Josh Blackwell, or you mentioned Cam Lewis, who's just a jag, man. That's just the reality. I think there's something special there with Malik Muhammad. I think Terrell Smith is just a solid rotational cornerback. I don't expect him to be your starter and blow you away.
Yeah, I think that I think you're going to hear things from the Chicago Bears during training camp that maybe Terrell Smith and Tyreek Stevenson are competing for playing time, but I think it would be worst case scenario that Tyreek Stevenson doesn't separate himself from Terrell Smith. Listen, I like Terrell Smith, and you're right, J2K, he was playing well before he got hurt, but at the end of the day, I think he's probably considered a really good backup and the first guy on the field if somebody needs a breather or if somebody has a minor injury. But at the end of the day, Tyreek Stevenson was the second-round pick, and you want that guy to separate himself from the rest of the competition and have a good year for the Bears.
Terrell Smith is also another guy that they drafted because of his ability in zone coverage.
Yeah,
that's the reality.
I think J2K, and Kyle and Dustin both said it best. I mean, he's probably listed as your number one behind both Jaylon Johnson and Tyreek Stevenson. Jaylon Jones was added back to this team, too. I do like Jaylon Jones. And I think that if Terrell Smith is your number 3 on the outside, then Terrell Smith's going to play some football.
No, they're going to go with a rotation at that position for sure.
Yeah, he's going to play some football this year. So I think he's a quality player to have.
Stay healthy. Stay healthy.
Yeah, that's my biggest concern for Terrell.
Stay healthy.
He did suffer a pretty severe injury. Most of the players on this football team, guys, that ended up hanging it up for this season last year suffered some pretty severe injuries, and that's going to be my greatest concern on the defense.
Generally, that's what happens when you hang it up for the season.
You have T.J. Edwards, you have Shemar Turner, you have Terrell Smith. I mean, a lot of these guys. Jaylon Johnson's injury was brutal. It was brutal. So my
Yeah.
concern is going to be really the health for these guys.
Yeah, and then real quick, guys, just some off-subject Bears news. A lot of people have been mentioning it in the chat here. The Bears did, I think they signed Tony Fields the second, who was drafted by the Browns a few years back. He got
And he was
ultimately got cut, and then he became a UFL standout.
UFL
I
player.
think he led the UFL in tackles this past season, right? Does that sound correct? He's kind of a
I did
smaller.
not follow the UFL.
Yeah, he's a
Oh, you
smaller.
didn't follow Ian Wheeler?
No.
He's a smaller tweaker type linebacker. He's got a smaller build for a linebacker. I think he's just over 6 foot, about 220 pounds. I think he's a guy who would probably play more of that like versatile role where he could play maybe a little bit of nickel, outside linebacker, maybe even drop back into safety. I know he's really fast. I don't expect this guy to be like a guarantee roster spot. I think they just brought him in for some more competition. And then obviously we mentioned the injuries to Keyshawn Elliott missed a practice. Noah Sewell is still not healthy enough to play. So I think the Bears are just bringing some insurance in here. I wouldn't expect Tony Fields the second to make this roster and be one of the best players in football. But yeah, I mean, you guys remember, the more that guys get cut off other rosters, the more that they start to cut these rosters down to the 53 man. The Bears are probably going to bring 3 or 4 guys in here to compete. I mean, we've seen it every single year that Ryan Poles has been here. Every single year, look at the addition of Nick McLeod last season. Look at the addition of Nashawn Wright last season. DeMarco Jackson. Ryan Poles has done this every single year. He's been the GM for the Bears during training camp. Once these roster cuts start happening, he starts adding guys in here for competition. I wouldn't necessarily right now what the Bears are at. I think they're comfortable with their 53 man. I wouldn't expect any of these guys to make the active roster, but certainly the practice squad probably has some openings on it for sure. So yeah, just some Bears news. Tony Fields was officially signed today. So you're going to see him in training camp, and you're probably seeing him in the preseason as well.
Brandon, what did you have, man? You had a question.
Go ahead, man.
No, it's like I said real quick. I don't want to make a whole segment out of it because it's obviously not something we can beat up too much. I asked earlier between you guys in the text message, how does this fan base with high expectations and the inability to temper them, I find most often in Chicago, because you want immediate results. You've been waiting for so long, they're jaded. You've watched losing season after losing season. Well, how do you measure success for this Bears team who made it to the divisional round in the playoffs last year under a first-year head coach and a quarterback in a new system? If they make it to the divisional round again and say lose, or they make it to an NFC Championship game and lose, they don't achieve the ultimate goal, which is a Super Bowl, which is what we expect from this team. There's going to be a lot of fan base who are going to be very critical of them. But I think
I don't think so, man.
You
I don't think
a lot
so.
of Bears fans were critical of the team losing in the Rams game.
You just said it though. How much ineptitude we've seen the Chicago Bears fans. If you get your first head coach in his first year goes to the playoffs, second year win the division, go to the playoffs. That's pretty damn good. You're putting your hat in the ring.
It's destined. It is a foreshadow of very good things, right?
Yes, correct. You're building on something. It's not. You said. I think the way you asked it was, if they go to the playoffs and lose, is it all for naught? No, hell no. Because when's the last time they were in the playoffs? No. This is you're working towards building foundational success, man. And there's gonna be bumps in the road, and this team is not complete yet. And not to say that they can't get on a run and go deep. I expect big things from this team this year. Now, if they miss the playoffs altogether, that's a reason to start getting a little concerned, I would say. For sure. But if they repeat the playoffs 2 years in a row, that's better than what we've gotten for a long time here in Chicago. And I think Bears fans would be silly not to be, happy with that to an extent. Obviously there's disappointment, but that's progress. That's progress.
Yeah, for me personally, if you're talking about like the measuring stick of 2026, do we have to go further than we did in 2025? I don't believe so. I mean, first of all, you can't predict injuries. You never know what's going to happen. If Caleb misses a few games, obviously your expectations should be lower. But I bet you if you ask Ben Johnson what his measuring stick for success is, he'd say if we don't make it to the NFC Championship game or Super Bowl, then it's a lost year. But for me personally, I just want to see the continued growth of Caleb Williams. I want to see the continued growth of all the young guys. The Bears now probably consider their core Colston Loveland with their Burden, Kyle Monung guy, some of the guys on the offensive line. I just think that if the Bears continue, like we talked about earlier, if they can get to that 28, 29 points per game average and then work towards becoming the best offense in the NFL like they were, like Ben Johnson was in Detroit when they were averaging 33 points a game, I think you're making a step in the right direction, man. I mean, the NFL is a tough league, and it's not
And
like
and Mikey points out that the Rams are in the NFC, Kyle.
Yeah.
Like it's not a disappointment if you don't go to the Super Bowl. Then I don't think we're gonna think that way. Like the Bears, does anyone right now think the Bears have a better roster than the Rams going
No.
into the season?
Absolutely
No.
not.
Absolutely.
I think there's potential that they have a better quarterback, and I know that it's a
I agree with that.
driven league, and I know that people think, oh well, if you got the best quarterback in the NFL, you should win every year. Like, I mean, you guys look at Mahomes won 3 Super Bowls, and since then it hasn't looked all that good. It's a team sport. You have to. I don't think Rome wasn't built in a day. It's tough to flip an entire roster in one offseason. I think it's pretty obvious that when Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen got here, their goal was to bring all their guys in and get rid of Matt Everett for those guys. That takes some time. That's not something that you can do overnight. And that's why I have continued to say, even if Dennis Allen doesn't have a top 10 defense this year, if you fire him, you're setting yourself back, because then if you hire a new defensive coordinator, it's not fair to be like, hey, we're going to bring you in to replace Dennis Allen, but you got to use all his guys and you got to run your defensive scheme with all his guys. Like, I think you need to be patient in the process here. And I think if the Bears make it to the playoffs for their second year in a row under the second year head coach and Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams' third year in the NFL, I think that's a lot of positive, and a lot to grow off of, a lot of.
Brandon, you asked the question. Did you ask it because you feel like it might be a disappointment?
No. I think if you make 2 consecutive playoff seasons in a row, that which was going to kind of segue into my next segment, because I think that I think this Bears team is built to succeed. I think they're built to sustain success. I will say this. I think, and obviously, Kyle, you said it best. Ben Johnson's goal was the Super Bowl, nothing less. And with Caleb Williams on his rookie deal, I think that it would be very important for the Bears to at least come close to that achievement now, as opposed to later, because it's going to be a little harder for Ryan Poles to build the roster that these coaches require in order to win for a long term.
Got to figure it out. That's your job.
Let me ask you guys. I want to ask you guys a question real quick, and this is a little bit off subject. I mean, not really, but if Braxton Jones is the Bears' Achilles heel, which I think most of us expect that's probably going to be a problem at some point this season, right? Do you think there's still a chance that the Bears call Taylor Decker in training camp or preseason and go, hey, you know what? We're not liking what we're seeing out of Braxton Jones, man. What would it take to get you in the building? Do you think that's still an opportunity, something we might see?
I don't know, man. The money that he's going to command to a team that's going to be needing him by the time, like, he's banking on somebody's going to need me, a contender is going to need me at a critical point, and I'm going to get the most money I can to be a 1-year rental. And can the Bears figure out how to pay him? And then here's the other question to come on the back of that, Kyle, because this is how I feel, and this is how I felt last year. Even if the left tackle is your Achilles heel, don't you trust Ben Johnson to figure that out the same way he did last year? You got Thuney on the one side of the tackle. You're putting multiple tight ends to help block on the other side of the tackle. It was their Achilles heel all last year. There was a revolving door, and they still found a way to have a successful offense in spite of that. So is that worth paying that if you're the Chicago Bears when you feel like you can figure it out?
Yeah, and I know a lot of, it's just a thought I'm putting out there because I was looking at all the Detroit departures today, and I was like, oh, did Taylor Decker sign anywhere? And I looked it up, and he did not. And I bet you that's exactly what he's doing, Dustin. I'm sure you're right. I'm sure he's waiting for a scenario in which he gets the most money, but also has a chance to win a Super Bowl. I think that's probably something he wants to do before he retires. I like how Mikey puts it here. He says, Kyle, that's a break glass scenario with Decker, like in case of emergency. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like Ozzie Trapillo kind of, I guess, almost saved the day last year, although Ozzie certainly had his faults. But I don't know if the Bears have one of those guys in the building this year. Maybe it's Jedrick Wills. It's not good that he's not practicing to start this mandatory minicamp, man.
I'm not worried about Wills, man. I think they're taking it easy with him. That's one guy.
I don't know. It's tough.
I'm not worried about it.
Minicamp is tough, guys, because half these injuries, even when it comes to Kyler Gordon, like they may be like, "Hey, let the public say whatever they want."
Let's just be safe. Let's just be safe.
Yeah, like you don't know.
Strange to take it easy with a guy who had a year off of football.
I think it actually makes a lot of sense from my perspective, but we all know Braxton Jones is gonna have the upper the upper hand in this competition to start because of the way Ben Johnson operates. He's already been in the building. You know, he trusts him to an extent versus Wills, who just got here.
If I'm the coach
Wills
of
is the better
Jedrick
player,
Wills,
though.
I'm getting that ball rolling on that guy. That guy's been so far removed for so long. I'm getting the ball rolling.
It shouldn't matter, but remember, Braxton's also making the most amount of money too. So that I think sometimes politics do end up making their play in football. Yeah, J2K says here when Ben talked up Braxton, I thought it was a good sign. Yeah, but I mean J2. I mean, have you ever heard
Ben doesn't bullshit, Kyle?
Yeah.
Ben don't bullshit.
I don't know, man.
He's straight. That's one thing to say about him.
You know what's concerning to me is that everybody talked about how he had 10 pounds of muscle, and everybody's like upper body. That's not the 10 pounds he should have added.
No, yeah, put it in your ass. Put it in your ass.
You should have added that, dude. You should have been working on squats. You should have been doing squats all off season and leg lifts.
Listen, I'm not.
I don't know, man. Listen, guys.
I'm not going to be. I'm Kyle. No, I'm with you. I'm not.
I like what I've heard.
You can feed me the weight. You can feed me the conditioning. You can feed me the words from Ben Johnson. This guy's been in the league for fucking 4 years.
We know what Braxton Jones is, and he's not a Pro Bowl caliber player, Paul.
The verdict is out, guys. The verdict is out. And I don't think I don't like the have high hopes for the thing that never was. I have high hopes for the thing we haven't seen. So as far as I'm concerned, if the left tackle problem is resolved by the time the season begins, or even partially through it,
it's going to be.
It's going to be in Jedrick. It's going to be in Jedrick.
Don't you guys?
It's not going to be in Braxton.
Don't you guys think if Braxton Jones was going to like wake up or pull his head out of his ass, however you want to word it, don't you think it would have been last year when he was trying to earn his next contract? Like I think that probably would have been the year where
that's not the year to get benched. Braxton Jones got benched and then re-signed.
Yeah,
like that's what happened. So like we know what Braxton Jones is. I think we know what this left tackle position is, Kyle. To answer your question, in a perfect world, would I rather have Taylor Decker than any of these? Fuck yes. If they could do it, fucking go do it. And I think Taylor Decker would see them as a contender. But
Dante says BBL
Braxton. But I still have a lot of faith. I feel the same way about this left tackle position as I did last year. I'll just keep saying that. Like Ben will figure out how to make life as easy as possible on whoever goes in there. I don't know that it's gonna be resolved by the time the season starts, Brandon. I highly doubt it. Hopefully by just like it did this past season, by week 12, you're kind of figuring it out and you got a guy that's ready for your playoff run. That's my hope. And Ben makes it easy on him up till that point.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. The Bears did this. They presented themselves options because not only did you sign you brought back Theo Benedict on top of signing Jedrick Wills, but you have the ability to play Joe Tooney outside. And I still believe that if you want Benedict on the field, because you do have a problem between Wills and Braxton Jones, I still believe that you got a guy who's just a fucking athletic animal on the right side of the line that could probably hold it down on the left side of the line. So I'm
always with that.
The Bears have options, and
J2K
is a freak. He's a freak of a player. He's an all-pro player, second team. I do believe that guy could at least hold up his end of the bargain.
100%, Brendan, but that'll never happen. J2K, Braxton started the season at the left tackle. I mean, did they start him injured for multiple games? I don't know. He wasn't performing. If he wasn't performing because he was injured, he shouldn't have been the starter to begin with. Either way,
he got benched twice in the season.
Yeah, guys. I mean, let's face it, guys.
Listen, he was playing. He was playing badly.
He was benched for Benedict and then benched again for Trapillo.
I'm not saying he's the worst player in the NFL, guys, but we've seen Braxton healthy, and he was certainly near the bottom half of all left tackles in the NFL. I mean, listen, maybe he has gained some muscle. Maybe he's more prepared for those bull rushes. But at the end of the day, guys, it's you can't. He is what he is. Braxton Jones is what he is. You can't make a Pro Bowl
average left tackle.
Yeah, people are saying Pro Bowl in here.
This is worth mentioning, J2K. Yeah, he was not benched.
I agree with Cornelius. He just doesn't have to be a Pro Bowler. Just be the best version of yourself, Braxton, because what you have been isn't good enough.
In between weeks, he was
benched in that Raiders game. The Raiders game.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And the Bears' offensive line got better when that happened. So, I don't know, man. I think for a 5th round pick, he's been a solid left tackle in the league, and he can be solid enough. That's kind of where I'm at. Whether it's Wills or it's Braxton or it's Benedict, I think the Bears are going to figure it out. I don't know that Decker becomes that option for them, Kyle, but I would love it.
Braxton his career trajectory actually reminds me a lot of the guy. Who's the guy that left and went to Washington?
Oh, God damn it. Why am I blanking on his name?
What I'm talking about? What was his name?
He was
he wasn't terrible. Like he wasn't the
Who?
worst tackle in the NFL.
The
But
left tackle for the Bears that they didn't re-sign,
Leno?
and yeah, Charles Leno. There you
yeah,
go.
Charles Leno, like he wasn't terrible, but he probably better suited as a good. Yeah, thank you, Chai Will. Thanks, Brandon. He probably suited better as a really good backup than starting left tackle in the NFL. You guys, left tackle to me, you guys heard me say this 1,000 times. I think it's probably the second most important position of football if your quarterback's right-handed, and that's his blind side because you can't lose your quarterback, right? And Braxton Jones scares the shit out of me. He absolutely scares the shit out of me. I'm sorry.
Well, Mike, hold on.
When it comes to anybody with any talent at all, he cannot handle them. Anybody, any
Mikey,
talented defensive end, he's in big trouble.
Or strength that they put right in his face.
Mikey, I think,
or speed around the edge. Like he's not good at either one. That's a problem.
Penei Sewell
he's good
is
at
by all
he's good at
measures-
run blocking.
Yeah,
Penei
for sure.
Sewell- Penei Sewell is by all measures the best right tackle in football. So, do I believe that if you move him to left tackle, he's going to be the best left tackle in football? No. Do I believe that he's going to be a pretty solid fucking player and probably somewhere he's going to be within the top 15 of the position? Yes.
Oh, they're moving him to left tackle. That's happening.
Darnell Wright is second or third
best.
best. Darnell Wright is the second or third best right tackle in football. The thing about these guys, though, Mikey, why I say this is not because I think that the guy, because he's so prominent one side, he could be the same as. They're just really athletic. They're really strong. They're strong in their mechanics and their technique, no matter what they're doing, no matter where they're playing. I think. This is what I think. I think that if you gave Darnell Wright a chance to play left
Van der
tackle,
Sar. Exactly, Van der Sar.
he would be better than Joe Tooney. I do believe that.
Yeah, have you guys ever seen?
He's not just changing. He's not.
I've been asking
positions.
for.
He's changing sides.
I've been asking for Darnell Wright to do that this whole time. I'm just done talking about it, man, because the Bears aren't going to do it, and that's okay. And it seems to upset Bears fans too when you talk about it as well.
Well, and if you do it,
why would you move Darnell from that?
If you do it this year, you remember, guys.
Yes, Van der Sar. We've said
Darnell Wright is right on the verge. You do it this year, and he's like, I can play both right and left very well.
Now pay me more.
You're gonna pay him a lot more money. Real quick, guys. Have you seen Van der Sar here before?
Yeah, he was in the bare minimum a couple weeks ago. It was the first time we saw him. He subscribed that night.
Yeah,
and he was killing in the chat.
I think Van der Sar. I think everybody on this panel agrees with you, man. I think you're going to see a lot of Sam Roush and Cole Kmet standing next on the hip of Braxton Jones.
Oh, Colston Loveland too. You're going to see all of them. That's going to be a by committee.
Your left tackle squared. I keep kind of saying that. I think he's an extension of the left tackle. I think Ben Johnson was very methodical when he didn't get the tackle that he probably targeted in the draft.
Guys, let's get to some of these other topics. I'm gonna have to get out of here soon.
Yeah. So, guys, while we're on the subject of whether or not how we measure the Bears' success, I want to know within the NFC North if we're looking at the long-term success and the odds for which one of these teams in the NFC North might, I think, with a young roster and obviously a good head coach, a quarterback in place. How's it looking in the NFC? How does it shape up to you guys in regards to the best team, meaning the team that's got a chance of long-term success, versus the team that'll have to scrap it and start over next?
Well, the Bears are the number one team right now in that regard in terms of long-term success because it's because of Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. That's really what it boils down to.
They're very young roster too.
Listen, I just read today, and I wanted to throw this out there because Fowler had a report from an anonymous NFL executive saying Caleb is a top 10 quarterback. That's how kind of the league perceives him, one of the best closers in the league, and a guy that can do things like only one other guy can do in the league, and that's Patrick Mahomes. That's the kind of quarterback the Bears have, and he's going to get better. He's more comfortable in the system now. His head's not swimming. He said that himself in terms of this offseason. It's going to pay big dividends. When you're looking to the future, you look at the quarterback. You look at the Lions, you got Jared Goff. He's the guy who's closest to being on his way out. When you look at the Packers, you got Jordan Love. So that Packers would be right there behind the Bears in my mind. And then when you look at the Vikings, they're going to go with Kyler Murray or JJ McCarthy. And I feel like Murray can do it in that offense this year, but I don't know if he's a guy that they keep. And JJ McCarthy is not it. So, I mean, for me, it would be going Bears, Packers, Vikings, Lions. I think the Lions are closest to being the rebuilding team just because how much more does Jared Goff have in the tank? How many hits is he away from a big injury that, causes some issues for them? That's how I would rank it. And you can call me biased, but I love the combination of Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson over any other head coach quarterback combo in the league. And that's what wins you Super Bowls.
Well, and remember, if Kyler Murray does have a successful season this year, guys, with the Vikings, he's going to ask for a lot of money, So that's a decision the Vikings are going to have to make, because remember, they just drafted a quarterback in the first round 2 years ago, and who's had a terrible start to his career. First, the massive injury, followed by just poor quarterback play. I mean, I don't know if you guys want to get into the state of the NFC North. I agree with Dustin. I think that the Detroit Lions, even if it's because, say, Jared Goff misses 8 games this year and the Lions miss the playoffs again, even if it's due to injury, I think there's a chance that they might be looking to change their head coach, and that's just not a good position for them to be in. Not on top of that, guys, we know that Taylor Decker asked to be released from that team. We know that David Montgomery requested a trade. Frank Ragnow just retired. Like, why are all these guys in Detroit, when this team was a quarter away from a Super Bowl, why are they all asking to leave the team all of a sudden? Like, I just feel like there's maybe, I don't know if it was the change of Ben Johnson and bringing another offensive coordinator. I don't know what's going on there, but it's never good when 3 or 4 of your best players, the players have had massive impacts on your team over the last 5-6 years, are asking to leave the team. That can't be a good sign for them. And I know Lions fans have given me grief for saying this, and I'm going to keep saying it. Why did one of your offensive linemen retire? Another one asked for his release. David Montgomery asked for a trade. Something's going on there that some of the players just aren't interested in, or they see the future and they don't think it's bright. I don't know. I have no idea. But when it comes to the conversation of the NFC North, I mean, we can go over the departures and additions, guys. I know that the Bears have had their fair share of departures. When you're talking about, everybody who contributed to the turnovers last year is gone. You talk about Deshaun Wright, you talk about Kevin Byard, you're talking about Tremaine Edmonds. But guys, look at the departures for the rest of the division compared to the Chicago Bears. It's not much better for anybody else. I mean, the Packers lost Romeo Doubs, Malik Willis, and they who's did they replace Malik Willis with? Nobody. Rashawn Gary,
Quay Walker. They traded Rashawn Gary.
Yeah, Quay Walker, Rasheed Walker, Elton Jenkins, Dontavian Wicks, Nate Hobbs was cut because they basically admitted to their fan base he was a terrible player. Look at the departures for the Lions. Alex Anzalone, who's been amazing for them. Amik Robertson, Roy Lopez, DJ Reader, Khalif Raymond, Frank Ragnow retired 2 years ago. Taylor Decker released. David Montgomery traded. Look at the departures for all these teams, man. I mean, it's. If you ask me, look at the departures for the Vikings. Harrison Smith, that's been their poster child for the last 15 seasons, man. Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, Ryan Kelly, who is by all accounts a damn good center. CJ Ham, another guy who everybody in the building loved there. I don't know. I mean, everybody in the NFC North had a decent draft. They certainly did their due diligence to replace some of these guys, but when people talk about the Bears like they lost half their
Vikings
team,
had a good draft. I like
sure.
Yeah, can I throw my 2 cents on this? I'm going to
lose to Kelly. Those are big losses, guys. They're big losses.
I'm going to disagree with you guys. I would go with the Vikings behind the Bears, and I actually do like.
It's just the quarterback situation is so uncertain.
But to me, it's a quarterback coach situation. If Kyler Murray is successful, I believe the Vikings.
It's because of KOC. Yeah,
they're dropping the ball on Sam Darnold. I don't believe they do that again. If Kyler Murray comes out and shreds, guys, they're going to keep him around because they just fired a GM for doing this very thing, and I believe. Dustin said their draft is phenomenal. The 2 tackles they have up front now is between Orange and Banks.
We had the same conversation with Shemar Turner.
But my issue, and I was disagree with on this. I think Matt LaFleur is on the hottest seat in the NFC North.
Dude, Brennan, he just got extended. He got extended.
You got extended during the conversation over whether or not he should be fired.
But it doesn't matter.
I agree with you, Erica. I agree with you.
If the Packers missed the playoffs, I would not be shocked if Matt LaFleur was.
So are we talking long? Because you set it up long. Are we talking this year? Because this year, I think the Vikings finished second in the NFC North. That's where I'm at.
I think long-term success. I think
long-term,
Vikings, Packers, Lions.
I just can't put the quarterback situation of Murray and McCarthy above Jordan Love. I just can't do that. And if I'm looking at
it's Murray, guys. It's not McCarthy. McCarthy's done.
Well, I'm just throwing them both into the mix because it makes it sound worse. McCarthy makes it worse for sure for the Vikings.
Great point, Dante. Greenyard, that's a big loss for them. Yeah, I don't know. For me personally, I will say I
like the coaching staff.
People think because people think because I don't have faith in Kyler Murray, all of a sudden I hate the Vikings. Guys, that's a damn good roster. I'm not taking it away from them, and they did have a good draft, Dustin.
And I said that coaching staff,
I said that on the show when people were saying the Vikings did not have a good draft. I'm like, I think they did, and I think they now have the best receiving core in the NFL. Juwan Jennings is number 3, is a damn good luxury
Fucking
to have.
solid, dude.
That's
Kyler
amazing.
Murray, if he's
The
gonna have
NFL, though.
that season, it's this year, Kyle.
The
If Kyler
NFL is
Murray's
ever
gonna do it.
changing. You can give a head coach a contract extension and fire him the very next year. This is
Yeah, the
not
Bears did it
unique.
with
This is
Matt
not
Eberflus. I'm
unique
not
to the
saying it's not
NFL.
possible. What I'm
Matt
saying
LaFleur
is
could be done. If
I
they
think
miss the
they were all
playoffs next
in.
season, there's a high chance that he's no longer the head coach.
I just don't. I think. Listen, I'm not saying that it's not possible. What I'm saying is, you said he has the hottest seat in the NFC North. I don't think. I think that
Dennis Allen maybe
Dan
before him.
Campbell is in big trouble here, man. I think if Dan Campbell has a bad season, you're talking about it's done. I think it's done because they know.
Yeah, because Dan Campbell was
Jared
the
Goff,
conversation.
the window is only so long.
Keeps
You
hiring
only
bad
got
people.
Kyle, the conversation around Dan Campbell becomes you were a product of Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. That's why you found success.
Dustin, you talked about it earlier. How long? What does Jared Goff have left? If you're going to rebuild with a new quarterback, are you keeping Dan Campbell around?
Yeah, they're in the
Probably
worst
not.
position. They're in the worst
Well, no,
position.
see, I would disagree with that too. I don't even think
if
Dan
you need to
Campbell's
go get a new quarterback, the coach gets to pick his quarterback. So you'd bring in a new coach to pick a new quarterback and probably a new GM as well.
I don't think that Dan Campbell was it's not about who you lose. I can continuously say this. Dan Campbell would be fired in regards to who he hired to replace the people he's lost. It's not about Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson getting promoted.
Yeah, so but like, was it his hiring?
That happens for every football.
Was it his hiring capabilities that got Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn there?
That's
Ben Johnson was already there.
Dan Campbell.
Ben Johnson was already there. Listen, I'm not
exactly. That's my point. That's what I'm saying. And he can't hire an offensive coordinator to replace him.
Hires.
To save his life. The Drew Pensing hire to me, guys, was a huge question mark. I don't understand that at all. It doesn't make sense to me.
No, yeah, that might be the nail in his coffin. It could be.
I just think, and listen, guys, when I say I don't trust in Kyler Murray, I don't believe in Kyler Murray. You have to understand. I've always been in Vandershire, so he lives in Arizona. Murray has issues, but he can get the ball to star receivers, sure. But we've been hearing since he was drafted number 1 overall that he was going to be a badass, and it just hasn't come to fruition. First of all, he's not healthy. He's never healthy ever. The guy is constantly banged up. Why would you think just because he went to a new city, now when he gets hit, he's just healthier and he doesn't get hurt as easily? Like I don't believe it. I don't trust it. And on top of that, Kyler Murray is. You go look at his stats. I mean, yeah, he has the completion percentage is great. It's awesome, and that's usually because they make him throw a lot of short passes. But guys, he's never been a 4,000-yard passer. Never been a 4,000-yard passer ever. He's never been over 4,000 yards once in his career. Kyler Murray ever.
Yeah, but he's had some good completion percentage years. He's had some good years. He took the Cardinals to the playoffs.
He also has fumbling issues. He throws double-digit interceptions. Almost, I think he averages double-digit interceptions, like 10, 11, 12, somewhere around there. He fumbles the ball.
Well, that's because he pushes the ball downfield, though, Kyle. He pushes the ball downfield, which you need with those receivers.
I think Kyler Murray's success in Minnesota is going to look very similar to his successes in Arizona when he was good. I think it's going to be a lot of the same. I think he's going to be one of those guys where it's like, yeah, he's flashes where he's very good, and you got to be careful. Well, be careful when you're playing the Vikings. At the same time, though, I just don't think. I think if Kyler Murray was the real deal, and everybody in the NFL agreed that he's a guy who can get the job done and win a Super Bowl, I don't think the Arizona Cardinals would be like, you know what, we're going to let him walk, and we'll take Jacoby Brissett. And who did they sign? Who was the other guy they signed?
The Cardinals, they signed, was it Minshew?
Yeah, Gardner Minshew. Like, yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I just don't see it. I don't see it. And listen, I'm not saying that they're not going to be better than they were last year, because J.J. McCarthy, being better than J.J. McCarthy is like the easiest. That guy's terrible. And everybody in 4 stars agreed on one thing in the last 4 years. It's that J.J. McCarthy was the worst quarterback in that draft, and he should have been drafted in the first round. We all agreed on that. He's not good. Even his offensive coordinator in college was like, how do we get this guy to throw the ball as little as we possibly can? Like, how do we just keep the ball out of his hand so we can win this game? It was obvious. It was obvious. And that's Kevin O'Connell needs to take blame for that too, for JJ McCarthy.
Regardless of whether or not the Vikings made a mistake in letting Sam Darnold go, Sam Darnold was fixed by Kevin O'Connell. Kyler Murray can be as well. Kevin O'Connell will find success.
Well, but now that you see Sam Darnold go somewhere else and still be fixed, it makes you kind of question that too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, did
he learn?
If it was all Kevin O'Connell,
Sam Darnold was in the league for like
Brandon. He was with Kyle Shanahan the year before that. You could say that Shanahan fixed him and made him prepared to work in the Vikings. It's you don't know.
Well, if
all I'm saying,
Trey Lance would be a decent player, but he's not.
You don't know if he is or not. You just said last year that you think Trey Lance will end up being the Chargers quarterback. So like,
and he wasn't.
He was not. No. But all I'm saying is that the Vikings in terms of their quarterback situation, it's just too shaky. I was the one I said in the middle of last season, Kyler Murray's going to end up going to the Vikings and KOC is going to make him fucking better. And I do believe that's going to happen. I really do. But does that mean that you're talking about long-term stability? No, it doesn't, because Kyler Murray is streaky. And KOC might not want to deal with that for very long, So like, and Kyler Murray's work ethic has always been questioned, and KOC definitely won't deal with that. There's just too many question marks around the Vikings for me to put them ahead of LaFleur and Love, and certainly ahead of Ben Johnson and Caleb. I don't, just in terms of future. I think the best part of this conversation to me is that we have the best quarterback coach combo in the fucking in the NFC North.
Both very young. The rest of the guys you're talking about are not very young. The guys you're talking about here, I mean, Ben Johnson is one of the youngest coaches in the NFL, and Caleb Williams is one of the youngest quarterbacks in the NFL. Listen, I'm not saying that you guys are wrong. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I think a lot of fans were like, man, Kyler Murray going to KOC, he's going to be there. The Vikings are going to win 13 games like they did back-to-back years, 3-4 years ago. I don't see that.
Don't put it past them.
I think it's a question mark. I think Kyler Murray is a big question mark. And listen,
I like him this year. I don't like it long term.
Some Vikings fans love it. They're like, I love the question mark. I think Kyler Murray's great. I don't want a question mark. I want a Caleb Williams. I want a Josh Allen. I want a Joe Burrow. I want a Patrick Mahomes. I want a Lamar Jackson. I don't want a question mark. And then on top of that, if Kyler Murray has an okay season, say they finish with 10, 11 wins, now you're in a real big run, because now you're like, oh, do we give this guy $175 million for 4 years, or do we draft another quarterback and move on from JJ? I mean, to me, the Vikings have too many questions. That's for me personally. And you guys, honestly, every year, the Vikings, after the draft, Vikings fans say it was a good draft. And then they bitch about how bad all their draft picks were for the entire season and say their GM sucks and he should be fired. So are we going to see the same thing with this year's draft? I don't know. You're going to have to wait. It's a wait and see game.
I like the Bears quarterback QB situation better than any team in the NFC North. I personally like the Vikings.
Better than any team in the NFC. Better than any team in the NFC. I personally
like the Vikings next under the Bears. I do. I'm not a Metal 4 believer.
Until the Packers,
Jordan Love put up
until the Packers don't make the playoffs, I'm going to keep picking them to be number 2 and make the playoffs. You guys everybody can 50 years in a row. Like
everybody can dislike Jordan Love, man, but he's putting up good numbers.
I like Jordan Love. I don't like Matt LaFleur.
No, me neither. I've been saying this for years, Brandon.
Here's where I think the confusion with Jordan Love.
The resume is still there.
A lot of people say that Jordan Love, like me, I say Jordan Love. I look at Packers fans and I say, listen, man, Jordan Love is not Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre. And people are like, well, you hate him. You think he sucks. Like, I never said that. Didn't say he sucked. I ranked the quarterbacks in the NFC like 2 weeks ago, and I had Jordan Love in my top 5. He's just not Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. He's not the same guy. If he's not a guy who you're like, oh, we don't care if we're down by 20 points in the second half. We know for a fact Jordan Love's in the game, we're winning, like Aaron Rodgers was. He's not that guy. He's not. And if the Packers don't do a better job building around him, they're not the same team as they were with guys like Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers can mask a lot of deficiencies. Jordan Love's not that guy. He's not a guy who, like Dustin, you said 6 months ago on a show, a perfect phrase. He's not the tide that lifts all boats. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not like, if you get Jordan Love in the building, everybody just gets 10 times better around him because he's so good, and you have to be so careful with him that everybody gets open. Jordan Love's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not even Caleb Williams. He's a decent quarterback. I think he's well above average. I think he gives them a chance to win, but I think they need to be much more meticulous in building their team than they were 10 years ago. That's my only thing, Jordan Love. That's all I think.
I think the Vikings, though,
and he's not really a leader either.
Personally,
he's not a good leader.
I think the Vikings have the number 1 play calling tandem in the NFC North, more than the Bears. I think.
Oh, for sure, Flores,
O'Connell is the best in the NFC North. They will find success again, guys. They're not going to stay quiet for long. I do want to move into Kyle. I know you.
Hey, gentlemen, I had shit come up. That's why I'm doing this from the truck. I got to get out of here. I was here for a good time, not a long time. I'm sure you guys are going to have a great rest of your show. Love everybody in the chat, but I got to get on out of here.
All right, man.
Much love.
Bear down. Have a good rest of your show, all right?
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your stakeout.
Real quick before we move on, Jed says
Vikings Utah, 2.
He says Vikings front office and fans have been delusional for years now. They have a few nice pieces, but they have one of the oldest rosters in the NFL and no answer. And yeah, they're also in salary cap trouble too, Jed, just like the Bears. The Vikings, I think, started this offseason with $16 million in cap space, so they're right down there now too. Now they have like $4 or $5, $6 million, and whatever, something like that. They were not in good cap space either before the season started. And like I said, Kyler Murray, if he does play well there, he's going to be expensive because every quarterback in the NFL plays well is expensive. Look at Malik Willis had 3 good games as a backup and got $40 million a year. That's the way the NFL is going. So if the Vikings need to be very, very, very careful about the decisions they make, like Brandon's talking about the future of the organization, the next year or two, the decisions that the Vikings make are going to have a huge impact on the next 6, 7, 8 years of their franchise. Huge, massive. And they should have re-signed Sam Darnold. They already screwed that one up because I don't think the front office is smart at all. It's like one of my least favorite front offices in all football. And it's sooner or later, Brandon.
Well, they fired that year.
Sooner or later, for me, guys, if things continue to go the way they've been going in Minnesota, both Kevin O'Connell and Justin Jefferson are going to be like, you know what? I think my talents would be better utilized elsewhere. I think that's probably going to be a conversation.
Jordan Love is 3rd in the league in big play percentage. He does do some things better than most. Oh,
yeah, but he is not. I agree that he's not special. He's a good player. He's not special. Like, Caleb Williams is special. Jordan Love's not.
Well, speaking of Caleb Williams, I know that you had read something. I think you read something, a statement from an agent. We are all pondering, guys, as Bears fans. We've seen this organization miss on quarterbacks for as long as we have. We finally got one. It wouldn't surprise anyone if they missed on a quarterback that they have in the building. What's going on with Caleb's contract? What are we thinking about that, Cal?
Yeah, so if anybody saw the article today, guys, came out today. It's an article referencing an article written by Mike Florio that apparently inside the NFL, inside those walls between GMs, owners, so on and so forth, it's well known that Caleb Williams and his agent want an extension the day he is available to be extended, which would be the day the regular season ends in 2026. So the last week of the season, week 18, after the Bears play the Vikings, the second that game ends, the Bears are then allowed to start discussing a contract extension with Caleb Williams and his agency. From what it sounds like, according to Mike Florio, he's expecting or he's hearing that Caleb Williams wants a Patrick Mahomes-like contract. I actually love this, Brennan. It's one of my favorite things I've heard all offseason. This should be a bigger story. If that's the case, if he wants one of those they call them lifetime contracts where you basically get 10, 12, 13 years for $500, $600 million, that benefits the Bears in so many ways, guys. And I can explain to you why, how I'm sure most of you guys in the chat know what I'm going to say already. But first of all, when Patrick Mahomes first signed his contract, guys, he was getting $45 million a year. And I think was like the top 3 highest paid quarterbacks in the NFL. No, it's Mike. He's eligible for a contract extension after the last year of the last game of his 3rd season in the NFL. So 3 starting years you have to have as a rookie before you can discuss contract extension. So that would be after the regular season, the day the regular season ends, regardless of whether or not the Bears make the playoffs. Now, obviously, guys, if the Bears make the playoffs, I don't think Ryan Poles and Caleb Williams are going to be going to an office discussing contract extensions. I think they're going to focus on the playoffs and they'll wait till after the season's officially over before they do it. But the reason I want them to sign a lifelong contracts, what they call them. They actually call them the Patrick Mahomes contracts. Very rare in the NFL. You're talking about 10, 12, 13 years signed, guaranteed. The reason I want that is because when Patrick Mahomes signed his contract, I think he was like top 5 in the NFL in terms of annual salary. But by the end, by the more that contract went on, because the market resets itself every year and all these quarterbacks get more and more and more money, and every position in football gets more and more and more money. And by the time you're in his 5th or 6th year of his contract, if he's getting, say, $61 million, by the time you're in the 5th year of his contract, those quarterbacks will be getting $75 million, and Caleb will be paid like in the top 10 to 15 to possibly be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Not only that, but it gives you security. You know for a fact, you put no trade clauses in there. You know for a fact he can't go anywhere. So you know Caleb's your guy for the foreseeable future. You'd probably match his contract or his career up with the career of Ben Johnson. So the two would be intertwined for the rest of their careers, or at least the rest of Caleb's career, because Ben Johnson could coach for as long as he wants. And on top of all that, guys, when you sign those really, really, really big contracts, those $60, $70 million annual contracts, you can tweak them and move them or move money around and play with them so easily that it helps
the ability to restructure.
Yeah, it helps when you restructure them. It helps you clear up salary cap space in the future so easily. Like you guys saw what they did with Mahomes this offseason.
Twice. They restructured Mahomes twice.
Yep. I think this is the 3rd time, right? The extension, I think, is the third restructure of Mahomes. Yeah, the contract, the 2-year contract extension this offseason is the third time that they've messed with Mahomes' contract since signing him. And the recent extension they gave him did make him the number 1 paid quarterback in all the NFL. I believe he's getting like $67 million a year now. I have it in front of me here. Give me 1 second. But basically what I'm saying is if you can get Caleb Williams to agree to a contract like that, where you're basically talking about, hey, man, you know what? You're just going to spend the rest of your career here in Chicago. Whenever you need to move money around because of injuries or because somebody's complaining and they want more money, whatever the case may be,
you need free agents.
You can turn a ton of that roster into bonuses or guarantees and rolling guarantees where you're basically pushing money into the future, but that money then becomes guaranteed. And it opens up salary space for other guys. And right now, I'm correct, Brennan. He was now his average salary is now $63.1 million a year. So he is number 1 in the NFL. When he first signed his original contract, Brennan, he was making $45 million a year. And listen, I'm not saying that's not a lot of money. Like, that's a lot of money. But 6 years into that contract, the guy who won 3 Super Bowls is making $45 million a year. Well, Josh Allen's making 62. It just doesn't, it's good for the team. That's still a team friendly contract, even though he's a top 10 player in the league. That's still a team friendly contract. I don't want to see one of these extensions we've been seeing lately, Brennan. Like
J2K says in here, Kyle, you can move the money around and it gives you it gives you flexibility.
So, dude, when you have a contract that big, the flexibility is incredible.
But the most important part of it is what you said first and foremost is, guys, this is our quarterback, the guy we've never had. You want to lock this kid down. I don't care how much money they have to throw at Caleb Williams. It's the duration of the contract that matters most to me. I don't want Caleb Williams to see an open market. I don't want to see Caleb Williams in a different team's jersey. I want Caleb Williams to be the Chicago Bears quarterback as long as Ben Johnson will have him. And that's what's most important to me. And I think Ryan Poles will try to stress and emphasize that most importantly.
Yeah. And
when guys like Tom Brady have done it too, Kyle, right? Before Mahomes, this is not a new thing. Tom Brady restructured contracts to add free agents to a roster.
No, but the 10-year contract, like he originally signed, I think it was 10, wasn't it 10 years, right? $504 million, I believe, was the original contract. That is rare because, Brandon, like you just said, these guys want to redo their contracts every 4 years because then they're catching up to what league status is. You know, when they reset the market, they want to redo it every 4 years. That's worst case scenario for the Bears. Worst case scenario for the Chicago Bears is that Caleb Williams signs a 4-year contract for $300 million. That is absolutely the worst case scenario. You want this to be what they call Patrick Mahomes contract, lifelong contract. And those are rare. How many players have you seen in the NFL sign 10-year contracts? What, 4? Maybe in our lifetimes. We've seen 2 or 3 or 4, maybe in our lifetimes. If Caleb and his camp are saying, we want that. We want that security. That means we're guaranteed all the guarantees, no matter injury, retirement, it doesn't matter. We're getting all that money no matter what. But that's the contract we want. The Bears should come up to the table and be like, oh, so do we. That's exactly what we want. We want you to be here for the rest of your life, for the rest of your playing career. And we'll give you the $700 million. But we're not going to reach in 4 years. If you're not being paid as much as some of the top tier talent in the NFL, you're just going to be behind. You're just going to be 8th overall in terms of annual salary. You're just going to have to deal with it. If Caleb and his camp are like, okay, I'm fine with that as long as I get my guarantees. And if you guys have to restructure me later in the future, go ahead, do it, move money around. I don't care. I'm all for it, man. I think that is the best case scenario for Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. Sign him to that 10-year, 9, 10, 11-year contract for over $500 million. I think it's the best case scenario. But I'm telling you guys, as the season goes on, this story is going to grow. You're going to see it grow.
This is going to be the biggest story in the NFL by the end of this season. It absolutely will be. There's no doubt about it, guys. And what Vanishar says here, I think this is a really good segue into our next segment. He says, as long as Caleb doesn't crap the bed this year, which I don't think he will, you have no issues with the plan. Cap, I did read, I think it was Windy City Gridiron did the top 15 Bears, or top 10, was it 10 or I think 10? Yeah, top 10 Bears.
Wait, hold on real quick, Brandon. Let's answer this question from Mike. He said, "Place devil advocate. Should Caleb expect that high of a contract from those Super Bowl one?" I mean, yeah, Mikey, unfortunately, and I'm not saying unfortunately because I want Caleb here no matter what. I hope the Bears cough up as much money as they possibly have to keep him here. Like him leaving this franchise would be the worst case scenario by far, not even close. But yeah, I mean, look what Josh Allen got. He reset the market. Look what Joe Burrow got. He reset the market. Those guys never won Super Bowl.
Fully guaranteed contract.
Yeah, look at Lamar. Those guys never won Super Bowls. That's just the way the NFL is going. It has nothing to do with Caleb Williams and being greedy or anything like that. That's just that right now the quarterback is the most important position in American sports. every sports league, NFL, MEA, NFL, or NHL, NBA. Right now, the quarterback is the most important player in all of sports. And outside of guys like Ohtani, unicorns, those 3 or 4 guys in baseball, quarterbacks are getting more money than everybody else in sports. And I think just the way he's played, what you can see, the potential, the ceiling of Caleb Williams, I think he's earned it. I think he should get a $600 million contract for 10 years.
In regards to that, Kyle,
what's up, Phil? Hope you're doing all right, man.
Windy City Gridiron did their top 10 players to prove it this season with the Chicago Bears, and I don't have the list in front of me, guys, and I don't really care about it, to be honest. I wanted to do our own rendition of who you think needs to prove it first and foremost this season in order to retain a contract or resign a contract to remain a Bear for 2027 in the future beyond that, but also kind of to prove to you and me and to the fan base here that what we've got is what we've got. So my list will probably be very different than yours. You can lead off here if you want. Who's your?
Well, I only did 5. I didn't do 10 because it.
Well, I did 3. I did. Your text said 3, but
yeah. Well, I had
5.
I had like honorable mentions because honestly, Brendan,
I can do 5.
I read the story. I read the story you read, but when I started researching it, I'm like, man, this is tough because there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys in the Bears right now. I'm like, you need to be a lot better. For me, Brendan, number 1, and I'll do my number 1, and then you can do yours. And it's not
number 1. No, start with number 5. Let's start.
Right,
let's go.
5. The one who has of the 5 guys, the Bears, one of the guys who I think this is a prove it season, make or break season for him, Brendan, is Dayo Adeyingbo. I don't know how to say his last name. Adeyingbo. I mean, he missed 9 games last season. He signed a 3-year, $48 million contract. He never had more than I think 6 sacks was the best he ever had. He had 3.5 sacks the season before the Bears brought him here. This is another huge stain on the resume of Ryan Poles. Like, dude, you paid this guy for what you expect him to do, not for what he's proven that he can do. He's never been a double-digit sack guy. He's never been a guy who makes a huge impact on the game. He can't take over a game. And they paid him like a top-tier talent. Dangbo. Thank you, Dante. Appreciate it, man. To me personally, man, if this guy comes out in the first 8 weeks of the season, has 1 sack like he did last year, like you're just not hearing his name a lot. He's not, you don't really, his presence isn't being felt. He's not making the opposing quarterback uncomfortable. I think the Bears should strongly consider cutting the last year of that contract. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. He's
why keep that guy here?
Yeah. 100%.
And you get Brendan real quick before we even get in this conversation, just to help you out a little bit. Right now, if the Bears didn't cut any of these guys, the Grady Jarretts, the Adingbos, all these guys we've talked about who are probably like TJ Edwards could be salary cap casualties. These guys, if the Bears don't cut any of these guys, they right now in 2027 are $5 million over the cap. So if they want to sign Caleb Williams, somebody ain't going to be here. So one of these guys ain't going to be, a lot of these guys ain't going to be here. So
I didn't want to think of this in terms of money, man. And I knew that's the direction it would go. I kind of wanted to, I want to steer this in a different direction. I want to focus on players who can make impacts on this team for the future. And my number 5 is Austin Booker. I love Austin Booker. And I think,
really?
We all project. Yes, I do, because we all project good things for him. But he is consistently injured. He's missed a quarter of the season in both of his 2 seasons of the NFL. He has looked good when he's on the field. But he hasn't really, for a guy who was traded up for the 5th round pick and a guy who we were told was drafted too early, but potentially could have been a 1st round pick in the NFL. I need to see, with as little as the Bears have, you just mentioned Dial, as little as the Bears have at this position on edge, it's really just Montez Sweat on his own. I want to see Booker be the guy who can start every down across from, I understand it's a rotational position, but I want to see the guy you can rely upon. I want to see the guy who's not, we always called him a NASCAR package guy, pin your ears back and get after the quarterback. I want to see Booker become the player that I think Booker has the potential to be. And I do believe that he does. That's why I'm saying this. He hasn't yet. I want to see this guy flourish into one of the NFL's best defensive ends. I think that he's got the ability to do so. And I think that he needs to prove this year that he can stay on the field, but most importantly, that he can be a better pass rusher than the guy across from Montez Sweat. I want Booker to be the multiplier on this defensive line. If there's, Kyle, I don't live on ifs or hopes. If there's a player that can alter the pass rush on this team, it's Austin Booker. And I think he needs to grab by the balls and be the guy. That's what I think.
Yeah, I guess maybe I understand what you're saying. Like maybe he just he hasn't reached his potential that you could see it there. But for
He's
me
got to
personally,
become the
I'm
guy,
just.
the fucking guy, the win anyway guy. You can be double teamed, but you win anyway. I want him to be
But
that guy.
I think regardless of what happens with Booker this year, he's going to be here next year because he's on a rookie deal, and I think that they think the potential is there, the
That's
ceiling
why
is there.
I'm not talking about money, man. I want to prove to the team you were the guy.
No, I mean, but I'm saying even without money, like there's guys on my list who a lot of them are not going to be here. If they don't prove it, they're not going to be here. I think Booker's going to be here no matter what. Don't you? Would you agree with that? That Booker, no matter what, he's going to
Yeah,
be here.
there's some players.
Doesn't
There are
matter.
some players on my team that are on their contract years, but players on my list. But I also wanted to go in a different direction where I want to see, I want to see the development we all believe in because we do with Booker. We all believe he can develop into this monster edge rusher, right, guys? We do. I think the tools are there, the body is there, the physical attributes are there, but fucking go do it, man. Go do it. So
I get it,
that's
man. Listen. I'll tell you this: without signing a defensive end in free agency or a defensive end of
yes, right,
notoriety,
exactly,
and
Kyle.
without drafting one,
He is your answer, right?
yeah, he's got his hit the importance of Austin Booker just went up a
The
ton, a
pressure,
ton with the yeah,
exactly.
with the Bears
Yes.
neglecting that position in the
That's no,
offseason.
you said it best. That was my point. You didn't address the position because I believe that the Bears have really, really, really high expectations for a guy like Austin Booker. So please go prove to us, the fan base, and to your general manager, your head coach, go prove your defensive coordinator that you can meet those expectations and change this defensive front, change this pass rush on this Bears team for the better. That's
Well,
why I put
real
these on
quick,
my.
Brian, Phil in response says Booker 10 plus sacks this year. Vandeshar says he agrees with you. Booker also needs to be a disruptor in the backfield. Vandeshar also says, I've seen his ability. He needs to stay healthy and go for it. J2K says, I think Booker will
Yes.
have a huge year and make our D line look far better than we think it is right now.
That's my point. Thank you, guys. I think everybody's seeing it kind of the way I'm seeing it. It wasn't like a prove that you can stay on this team and get paid. It's a prove
And
that you can
and Ron's
fucking prove that
and
you
Ron,
can impact this pass rush from being 32nd in the league last year to being relevant. Please prove that to me, Booker. Go out there and prove that shit.
and Ron says breaking news: Gordon has a soft tissue injury in his contract. All right, next for me, Brennan, number 4 is Tyreek Stevenson. And I'm sure Tyreek Stevenson's probably on your list somewhere. But I mean, this is it, guys. This is his last year on the Chicago Bears. This guy, we've all seen the potential. We know that Tyreek Stevenson at times has played very well. He looks like he has star potential, or at least very good player potential. And then you see the moments like against Washington with the Hail Mary. And it seems like Ben Johnson, this new staff got here, Dennis Allen, Al Harris, they weren't particularly high on him, or maybe they just think he's a few steps behind. Either way, man, I think time is running out for Tyreek Stevenson. And if he's going to make this team, if he's going to continue to be on the Chicago Bears roster, he's going to continue to make himself rich. I think this year is absolutely massive from him. And I'm not saying he has to be the best corner in the NFL, but the times of him being a handicap on the field and putting the Bears in bad situations, that needs to stop. This is it to me personally, guys. And I think the Bears would probably tell you the same thing. If Tyreek Stevenson wants to get a second contract in the Chicago Bears or even a second contract in the NFL, he needs to have a much better year this year than he has in years past. So, and I think we've talked about Tyreek Stevenson so much, Brandon. We've beat this to a pulp. It's ad nauseum. We've talked about this guy since he joined the Chicago Bears. So I'm not going to dig too much into it, but he is number 4 on my list without a question.
Number 4 on my list was Tyreek Stevenson, but because you said it, I can adjust here, guys. Number 4 on my list.
No, Brad, go ahead. Give us your reasons why.
I just don't see there's something here, Kyle, and what bothers me most about Tyreek Stevenson is I think he's a good football player, and why it's very prove it to me is because I think it's a mentality thing. It's an attitude thing. It's prove to me that you can be the person that the Bears are hoping that you are, not the player. I know that he's got the physical ability to play this position in the NFL. He's an aggressive player. I like his attitude. I do. I like his attitude on the field. But you made a blunder a couple of years ago that you never really got past. You've been benched twice by 2 different coaching staffs. Prove that you have the attitude to be a Chicago Bear and a defense that's well known for being one of the best in the league, and at a position on this team that the being on Chicago Bears defense, being a starting corner of Chicago Bears defense is a big deal, man. And I think there's a word I'm looking for. I talk about it when I talk about our middle linebacker. I talk about it a lot, but it's historic in this organization, and for the fact that this guy, when he's on the field, looks pretty decent. He has. I'm not going to dispute that. Still can't remain on the field is a problem. It is the pedigree. That's what the pedigree that this defense requires. Which you need the attitude you need to have, like the mentality you need to have when you're quitting, when you're cheering with the sideline while a game-winning touchdown's being thrown behind you, man.
Yeah, that's not acceptable.
That's not a Bears defender.
That's
That's not. We don't
And
accept that here.
that's not any defender in the NFL. It's not just the Bears. If he does that anywhere else, he's going to have a very short leash there as well. Phil says he makes boneheaded plays and then he'll make a spectacular play. I think that's why the fan base finds him so frustrating, Phil, because the talent is there. You know that he's capable of playing better. It just seems to me like he's not bought in. Vandashar says Stevenson better step it up because I heard the good things from that rookie they drafted. Guess he's playing really well. Yeah, he's talking about Malik Muhammad. Yep, I heard nothing but good things out of camp. We know they liked him a lot in the draft. Al Harris liked him a lot in the draft. Dennis Allen liked him a lot in the draft. If Tyreek doesn't step up his game soon, man, there's a good chance he's not going to be on this roster next year. And then Jed says, I like Tyreek when he's on, but he has too many games where he's a liability. Yeah, and not even necessarily games, just too many plays, just too many specific moments in games where he's just does not do what he's supposed to do, Brandon. All right, to number 3 for me, Brandon, for Bears players need to prove it in 2026 with the most improved. Number 3, and I know you're not going to like this one, Brandon, but is Rome Odunze. That's just me. I know he's probably not on your list, man, but Rome Odunze, to me personally, guys, if he plans on getting a second contract from Chicago Bears or maybe even them picking up his 5th-year option, I think he needs to have a damn good year this year. Obviously, he missed, I think it was 5 games he missed last year. His rookie season, he played well, but certainly didn't look like the number 9 pick in the overall draft. His drop percentage, or I should say at least completion percentage when thrown to last year, was way too low. I think he was at around 50%. Luther Burden was at like 75. Colson Lovin was at like 71. He just needs to be better, man. And I'm not saying that Rome Odunze, because he was drafted number 9 in the draft, which is not his fault. That's the Bears' fault. They're the ones who decided to make him the number 9 pick. I'm not saying he needs to be Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb or Jamar Chase, but he's got to be special. He's got to be different. He's got to be a guy that stands out. A guy when you watch the Bears, you're like, man, even if Luther gets hurt, we're in good shape because Rome Odunze is here and he's a badass. And right now, man, I know a lot of Bears fans hate when I say this because Rome Odunze has a lot of love and support in the city, and he should because he's a really good dude and he's really well spoken. He's articulate. He's very smart. He was raised by 2 really good people. If you heard your interview with his parents, he's a good guy, man. But I just haven't seen enough. And there's been too many drops, too many moments where he had a chance to change the game or make a special play, and he dropped the ball. And I mean that both figuratively and literally. He just needs to be better. If Rome Odunze wants to be considered one of the best in the NFL, he needs to be a lot better than he's been so far at this point in his career.
My number 3 is Kyler Gordon. Kyler Gordon has become one of the most expensive players on this roster. He was the difference maker when he's on the field. The problem is Dennis Allen relies on the Swiss Army knife. That is the player Dennis Allen loves the most. He speaks very highly of Kyler Gordon. You just now had your head coach kind of condemn this guy in a way. Kyler Gordon's got to remain on the football field, guys. Doesn't matter how good he is when he's playing. If he's not there, it makes no difference at all. He's useless to this team. And the soft tissue thing bothers me. And we're talking about an injury again when we haven't even started contact sports. I mean, like, this is a problem. This guy is a really good football player. The talent is undeniable, but you committed a lot of money to him. So the question becomes for me, can you prove that you can stay healthy enough to earn the money you've been given, regardless of how good you play when you're on the field? I don't care if Kyler Gordon plays a half season. When he does, he's the best nickel in all of football. You need him for the rest of the season. And that's going to kill this Bears team. It's going to burn this Bears team to pay guys that can't be on the field. And as much as I love Kyler, I love his attitude, I love his mentality, I love the fact that Dennis Allen thinks he's probably the best player in this defense. He is the difference maker, and he is the difference maker. I still believe that. Kyler Gordon is the difference maker. He can play pretty much any position you want him to, besides the defensive front. He's got to be there. He's got to be there, guys. You can't be giving $100 million contracts to guys that can't stay on the fucking field.
Yeah,
that is how you end up upside down when you're a general manager.
You're exaggerating, right? Obviously not close to 100 million, but yeah, I agree with you, Brian. I mean, he's on my list, and I'll get into Kyler a little bit later. But yeah, he's certainly. I mean, your best ability is availability, and right now, Kyler, as much as we all love him, I don't think anybody questions the talent, right? Nobody questions the talent, but he just hasn't been there. Real quick, Brian, to our number 3, Jed says, "I love Rome, but I agree if only to silence his haters." Vandeshard says Rome was dealing with his foot for the second half of the year, but the beginning of the year Rome was killing it. Yeah, I mean, even if you look at the numbers though, Vandeshard, like he did have a very good start to the season. He was leading the league in touchdowns, but way too many drops, not creating enough separation, too low of a completion percentage when Caleb was throwing his way. And if that continues, I'm assuming Caleb sooner or later is just going to stop throwing that way. Brennan says Vanishar says he agrees that Rome does have to prove it this year, though. And then Vanishar says, couldn't agree more about Kyler Gordon. Yeah, and I think for the most part, guys, when it comes to the fan base, the Chicago Bears fan base across the board, everybody's a little disappointed with the start of the career for Kyler Gordon, man. It's just to have that much talent and just never be on the field. And we've compared him to Mike Brown a million times, but realistically, guys, that's exactly the way I think his career has gone. I think he's a lot like Mike Brown, just missed too much time. My number 2 is Jaylon Dexter, man. First of all, he hasn't lived up to expectations. This guy was a second-round pick. I think all Bears fans expect him to be better. If you guys remember, and I'm sure most of you do, the Bears traded the number 9 pick back to number 10 with the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles ended up taking Jalen Carter, who was widely considered the best defensive tackle in all football. Jaylon Dexter has not been in that conversation. He's actually really good when it comes to the pass rush, guys. He's ranked 20th out of 134 defensive tackles. I think he's actually ranked above Jalen Carter in terms of pass rush. But when it comes to the run defense, PFF has him ranked 107th out of 134 defensive tackles. I think his grade was a 49. That's just not good enough. Jaylon Dexter needs to play with a lower pad level. He needs to get better at being an NFL pro. He just hasn't been the guy that the Bears thought he was going to be when the Bears drafted him in the second round. And it's disappointing because I think the body build is there. The athletic attributes are there. Like, I think Jaylon has it in him. And I think part of the problem, Brandon, is changing the defensive scheme for a guy who's so young in the span of 3 years. I don't think that helped him in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, I'm starting to think that maybe Jaylon Dexter was more of a Matt Eberflus pick, and he may not have a spot in this defense when it comes to Dennis Allen and the scheme. It's unfortunate because people talk about him like he's the worst player in the NFL, and he's not. He does bring value to this team. Like I said, you guys, he's been in the top 10 in sacks for interior defensive linemen in his 2 seasons in the last 2 seasons in the NFL. He's certainly not a bad player. He just needs to be better. If he's going to be the main guy on the field in that 3 technique, or even if they decide to move him over to 1, he's got to be better than he's been. And he's not good against the run. And his sack numbers aren't going to save him. If Jaylon Dexter doesn't get better this year, I think there's a good chance he's not getting a second contract in Chicago.
Yeah, I disappointingly think our lists are very similar. I think the last 2 players we list are going to be the same. I do think Jaylon Dexter is number 2. The run defense thing is a problem for me, man. You can't be a liability when you're on the field at any point in the game, especially when you're a second round pick in the draft. And this is your contract season, man. I mean, this is it. Jaylon is, and I agree with you. He's a good pass rusher, so he's playing a complementary role. But we passed on Jalen Carter in order to draft Darnell Wright because they knew they liked the kid Dexter in the second round where he was, and they got him, but it hasn't come to fruition. I don't think so. This guy's not a disruptor. He's not a game changer. He's not a game wrecker. He's not making such an impact at the defensive line where the quarterback can't step into a pocket. That's my biggest issue with Jaylon Dexter is the opposing quarterback that the Bears are playing against has always got a pocket. And if the quarterback's always got a pocket, what does it matter what Sweat and Booker do? Because the offensive tackles are just going to allow these guys around the edge all day long. If Jordan Love, every play you can just let Dexter or you can let Sweat and Booker around the edge because Jordan Love just gets to step forward because the guy who's supposed to be up front wreaking havoc is always getting pushed off the line. It's a problem. And Jaylon, we talked about this. The 1 tech and the 3 tech is where this all starts, guys. That's why it's called the 1 and 3. I truly believe that. It's where it starts. It's the anchor of your defense. When these guys play well, everybody else is better. The edge is better in regards to the edge getting better. The secondary gets better. When the guys up front can move the block, the linebackers get better. These 2 guys in the middle, whoever it is who's been next to Dexter has not been good enough, but Dexter himself. And I do say that. I will say this. Without having a 1 technique that has the ability to take on 2 blocks, I talk about this a lot, guys, Dexter's got his hands full. The center gets to choose who he wants to help. He can choose to help his right guard. He can choose to help his left guard. We know that Dexter is most often on the left side of the center. If you're a center lining up across from the Bears and the Bears have had whoever they've had on the 1 technique, you're going to fucking block Dexter all day. So I do think that Dexter has had his hands full. I think it's been a little bit tough to to gauge how good Dexter actually can be, because I think that I've said this before, guys. I think a guy like Jordan Vandenberg is going to help here immediately. I think Jordan Vandenberg is going to be an impact one technique on the Chicago Bears. I do. I think that's why Dennis Allen drafted him. I know he had a good pass rush grade. I know he was a guy who had a couple of sacks in his college career. I think that Dennis Allen wants a guy who's athletic, not, and J2K hammered this home all the time. They didn't want a cookie eater. They didn't want a big guy. They didn't want a 360, 70-pound guy with the one technique. I think that's what Vandenberg is here for. I would like to see this. My prove-it year is if you get better play out of the guy that consumes 2 blocks, please, God, show me, Dexter, that you can be that fucking guy. Crush that pocket. Absolve that pocket. Make it disappear. Make the quarterback have to rush out towards 2 of your best players on your team. You got to go towards Montez Sweat, and you got to go towards Austin Booker because the pocket's just not there anymore. We will be destroying opposing quarterbacks, and it takes that guy. And Dexter, it's a big ask. It is. But again, Kyle, this guy's going to be asking for money. And if you look at what the market's going to require for a guy who's led, you said top 10 in sacks and from the interior defensive lineman position, he's going to probably ask for $17, $18 million a year.
Well, and he's ranked 20th, so even he's up there in pressures as well. I mean,
it's time to fucking earn that.
J2K says he agrees that Dexter probably doesn't fit the mold Dennis Allen wants. He says he could see Gallimore rotating in for Dex on rundowns. Mikey says Javon Dexter just hasn't been consistent enough. I agree with both of you guys, man. I mean, and I agree with you too, Burn. Great. Listen, I think Grady Jarrett is still a valuable player. I don't think he's worth nearly the money the Bears gave him. I think that was stupid. I'm not even talking about you guys in the locker room because obviously people have talked ad nauseum about he's a leader of the team. He's really good. He's always coaching up the young guys. I'm talking about on the field. I think Grady Jarrett is probably still holds some value, but you got to get him off the field every once in a while. Grady Jarrett played way too many snaps last season for his age. I think with Gallimore here, with Contavious Street here, I don't know if Lynch makes this roster, maybe he does with him here, with the draft, with the addition of Vandenberg in the 6th round there, and then maybe even a guy like Jaden Loving, the undrafted free agent, who earned the 2nd highest undrafted free agent contract of any player in the NFL. Obviously, you guys know the Bears gave the Vanilla Gorilla the most money of any undrafted free agent in NFL history. I believe Jaden Loving's number 2. I think they have a lot of faith in him. I think he makes at least the practice squad, if not the roster. Yeah. Somebody needs to take on some attention so we can actually get a real chance to see what Dex is really made of. Because right now, I think
he's getting a lot of double team.
Like Mikey said, he's just inconsistent. There's been times where Javon Dexter, and it's you guys, it'll be like whole games. I'm not talking about like 2 plays. There's been like whole games where I'm like, right, Dexter's just all over the place. Like this right guard must suck. Like he must just be terrible because Dexter is just destroying them.
Dexter and then there's games, one of the worst rush defenders in the NFL, man.
Yeah, then there's games where you don't even hear his name. You don't even hear his there's games where I don't even hear Javon Dexter's name, and that's just
where you forget he's on the roster.
For a 2nd round pick, he's got to have a couple flash moments per game, and he just hasn't been that guy yet. I agree with Mike. He couldn't have said it any better. He's just been inconsistent. It's just been inconsistent. And if for a guy who was drafted in the 2nd round, for a guy who Bears front office told Bears fans, we don't need Jalen Carter because we got our Javon Dexter in the 2nd round. He's going to be the force to be reckoned with. The guy who, like Brendan, you said, collapses the pocket, makes things tough. The quarterback pushes the center or the guard back in his lap. He just hasn't been that guy, and he certainly has not been good against the run. I've admitted that. I like Dexter more than most Bears fans, but I've admitted since day one that he needs to be much, much better.
And Ryan Poles always says that player is the guy closest to the quarterback when the ball is snapped.
I know I've said this before, guys, and people are going to roll their eyes, but I do think this is going to be one of his best years. I think, if not his best year, and I think he needs it because if it's not, he's not going to be here anymore. But I
listen, man, I don't do this with rookie players, especially not late round picks. I think Vandenberg is going to make an incredible impact at the one technique. He's already being said, and Zach Pearson came here last week and said the guy made an impact on me just visibly watching him. He's clearly a talented player. He's an athletic monster. I think Vandenberg makes an impact at the one tech position as a rookie. I don't see a whole lot of pass rush out of him, and I think that Dexter gets better because of that. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, Bert, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on my number 1 because we've already talked about it a ton. He was on your list already, but Kyler Gordon for me, man, he's number 1. And the reason I say that is not because I'm frustrated with Kyler Gordon. I don't think he's a good player. He just hasn't lived up to his draft stock. the reason I'm frustrated with Kyler Gordon, guys, is because I think he is probably, if not the best player on this team, he's certainly in the top 5. I mean, you've heard NFL experts, writers say that he is one of the best nickel corners in all football. He got paid like he was one of the best nickels corners in all football, $10 million a year. I mean, I think over $30 million with incentives. It's time for Kyler Gordon to prove it, man. I mean, listen, injuries are not necessarily his fault, but we've talked about this on the Barely There podcast. We've seen guys like Montez Sweat play with high ankle sprains and sprained wrists and strained shoulders. And like a lot of these guys in the NFL are playing through injuries constantly, especially when you talk about week 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 later in the season. Most of these guys are pretty banged up.
Didn't
I know
Cole
it's soft
Kmet
too.
play like a half a season with like a broken bone or something like this?
There's been numerous times. Don McNabb finished a game with a broken leg. There's been guys who have. I think Kyle Van Noy or whatever his name is from Baltimore. I think he played one year in the playoffs with a partially ruptured spleen. I mean, listen, it's a tough game, and if you're willing to take the $10 million a year to play in the NFL, you have to expect injuries. Now, listen, I know his are soft tissue, so they're much tougher to play with because it obviously hurts your how you run, how you move, how you cut. I get it. It hampers what you do on the field, but you just have to. He has to be on the field. If the only way that Kyler Gordon can earn that contract is to be on the field, and right now he just hasn't done it. I mean, guys, he played 3 games last year. Listen, if he played 13, I'm happy with that because that's the NFL. That's the day and age we had burned in. I think the average missed games per year for players is 3.5. So if he plays 12, 13, 14, I'm okay with that as long as he's healthy in the playoffs. But 3 for a guy who just got paid $10 million a year and is considered one of the best nickels in the NFL, and a guy who that Dennis Allen called out his name in his interview before even coaching a single snap for the Chicago Bears, he needs to be on the field. And so far, since Kyler Gordon got drafted, ever since that broken hand his rookie season, he suffered against, I believe it was the Packers he suffered that against. It just hasn't been good. It hasn't been good. And it sucks because I do believe, we've talked about this many times, I think he changes the trajectory of this defense. I think he makes them a completely different defense. Do you guys know that when Kyler Gordon was on the field last year, this is true, you can look this stat up, the Bears were 4th in terms of run defense in the NFL with Kyler Gordon healthy. In the games he played, they were 4th in the NFL in terms of run defense. When he wasn't on the field, 27th in terms of run defense, the Chicago Bears. I mean, just how big of a difference, how big of an impact he makes. He's a willing run tackler. He's good at everything. He gets sacks. Yeah, he's awesome. He's amazing. He truly is Spider-Man. But if you want to have that legacy, man, you want to be considered like, we remember Spider-Man, we remember Peanut Tillman, we remember like conversation like that. You better start getting on the field, man, because it's starting to get old.
Especially when your head coach is calling your fucking name out.
Real quick, J2K says, just an FYI, I'm hearing that Gordon's mom is on Facebook saying that he's been kept out as precaution and he's healthy. From a source I trust, but take it with a grain of salt. Yeah, it's tough to trust. And, mom's always going to be in support of her kid. Obviously, she's always going to say, Bears fans, don't give up on me yet. Japan responds by saying, if that's true, great, but I won't believe it until he's healthy. And yeah, I'll believe it when he's on the field and I see him taking snaps, then I'll believe it. Vander Arsla says, Gordon is insane talent. I love him, but you got to be in the game. Yeah, basically what we just said. And then Phil says, way too many soft injuries last year. These players, strength and conditioning coaches need to be better at the offseason program. Yeah, and we saw on his Instagram, Kyler Gordon posted a lot of stuff about it. He's down in, I think, Florida. He was in working with some trainers on getting healthier, getting stronger, getting more flexible, but apparently with the start to mandatory minicamp and OTAs, it didn't really work unless what J2K is saying is true and they're just holding him out for precautionary reasons. I hope that's the case, but until I see him on the field, I'm not going to believe any of that stuff. Brennan, who's your number 1?
My number 1, guys, is the Iceman. Caleb Williams is about to be paid a lot of money. We talked about it, Kyle, in our last segment. He had a really bad coaching staff. He had 2 head coaches and 3 offensive coordinators, I believe, in his first season. He got a new coach and a new system last year, so he had some time that he needed to adjust to. He needed to learn the offense. It's a very intricate offense. This is the year, guys. This is the 3rd year's the year. This is the year that Josh Allen did. This is the year that these quarterbacks take this stride. Me and Dustin did a show about it on the bare minimum. Dustin read the numbers. It is tremendous how much the completion percentage improves, how much the numbers improve entirely. And there's no more excuses. Kyle's talked about it himself. No excuse. No excuse. No reason for the fan base to say, well, Caleb needed this. This Bears team was desperate for defensive players and impact players on defense, difference makers, and they went heavily offensive in this draft to make Caleb Williams even a little more comfortable than he already was. They have done everything. Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson have done everything to make Caleb Williams the fucking quarterback, guys, that this franchise has been waiting for, and he's been good. He's been good. I love Caleb Williams. Kyle, I've been watching him since 2021 December. I sent you the text. The game that he came into Oklahoma and replaced Spencer Rattler, I sent you guys a text. Remember this kid's name. I still have that text in my phone. I wanted this kid to be a Chicago Bear the entire time that he played collegiate football. We just so happened to get that first round pick because Davis Mills threw that pass against Carolina. I really, really, really think that this is the year that Caleb does prove it. I believe that he will, but this is the year that he must. This kid's going to require a whole lot of money. Like Kyle said, Mikey, that the contract extensions do begin at the end of this season. The conversations begin at the end of the season, and you've got all the pieces are here. I think that the Kyle Monanga is a really quality player. DeAndre Swift has done nothing but improve since he's been a Chicago Bear. You've got 3 tight ends. You've got a really good 13-man package. Really, this is a catch-friendly offense. It's a high percentage offense. It's a quarterback-friendly offense because all these guys, tight ends catch the ball to 71% rate, guys. You got 3 of them. You got Roma Dunze, Luther Burden. You just added Zavion Thomas. You added Raymond. You've got a lot of pieces on this team. There, you've got an offensive line that I would argue at least last year was one of the best in the league, especially on the interior. Caleb's sacks came down tremendously, and credit to himself as much as the offensive line. But this is the year, guys. We got to see it. I love Caleb Williams. I do, and I think that he's going to be a very special player. But I think that needs to happen now. I think that he needs to be the first 4,000-yard passer the Chicago Bears have been waiting for. I think that he should throw somewhere around 30 touchdowns plus. I think with the amount of talent that's on this team and the guy who's coaching it, the guy who's calling plays, what we saw Jared Goff do from his first year to his second year under Ben Johnson, we need to see this. This needs to happen from Caleb Williams. And I am not saying in any way, shape, or form, guys, that I'm upset or disappointed in any way with what Caleb's done up to this point. What I am saying is, Kyle, you said it best. You eliminate the excuses. You give a guy every chance he can to succeed. Caleb Williams is now in that position. This is going to be his first year with a consistent offensive system, right? There's no excuse for consistency anymore. Ben Johnson's second year as his play caller, as his head coach. He's got really good talent and play in regards to playmakers. And I do believe that they've fixed this line. Logan Jones, if he plugs in as the starting center right away, is by all measures, what everybody says, a starting center in the NFL. Your left tackle is your only weakness, and we talked about how the Bears are going to address that and how Ben did last year. There is no reason anymore, guys. If you want this team to be a consistent playoff team for the future, if you want this team to do better than they did the year before, it would be on the shoulders of Caleb Williams. Caleb taking that stride. Caleb becoming that 4,200 yards, 35 touchdowns. I mean, and even increasing his ability to run. It's time for Caleb to shine. And it's time for Caleb to show why he's the fucking guy on the cover of Madden. It's time. This is proven. I'm not talking about contract, Kyle. It's not specific to that. He needs to prove that he earned money. I think he already has. I think Caleb's already earned a second contract on this football team. But if he's going to be paid 10 years, $500 million, and he's going to be on the cover of Madden games, and he's going to get all that, we're going to focus heavily on offense in these drafts when we need defensive players. The time is now.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, I wouldn't. He didn't make my list just because, obviously Caleb's not going anywhere. So I don't know if I necessarily consider prove it year, but I understand what you're saying, and I do think that Madden cover is kind of like he's arrived, man. I mean, the league knows now. Like Caleb is no secret anymore. And real quick, Brendan, just to get some of these chats. True Pilgrim says it's Caleb time. It's winning time, 100%. Phil says his projections for Caleb are 4,200 yards, 36 touchdowns, 10 receptions, and 67%
I literally think I just said that, didn't I?
Yeah, that would be.
Who said that, Phil?
Phil, that would be a MVP caliber season right there. Relentless Mikey says Caleb has to get closer to 70% pass completion percentage and the wide receivers have to stop dropping the ball. And the two are intertwined, right? Like if they stop dropping the ball, that completion percentage will go up 100%. Ron says Packers hate the fact that Parsons said Iceman is the best QB. I have to see the actual episode. A lot of people are saying it was taken out of context, but yeah, if I was a Packers fan,
regardless of the context, he praised Caleb. He said, "I
Caleb
want players
back
to succeed, except for when they're playing against me." And I think the Iceman, he said a lot of really good things about Caleb. Micah Parsons was tweeting about Caleb Williams when Micah Parsons was in Dallas.
Yeah,
it's not a newfound love. Micah Parsons really likes Caleb Williams.
J2K has an interesting stat here. He said he saw this on Twitter, so we could take it with a grain of salt. It's on Twitter, so it might not be true. But he says Caleb Williams, weeks 1 through 9, 9 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. His touchdown interception ratio is ranked 19th, QB ranking 18th. And then he said Caleb Williams, second half of the season, 18 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, touchdown interception ratio ranked 2nd, QBR ranking 9th. Yeah, that's certain. That,
yeah,
I mean, and that
JJK, I think we all saw it pretty clearly that it took him time to learn what they threw a lot at him.
What's up, James? How you doing?
I knew that Ben Johnson was going to pretty much. A lot of people were saying, no, they're going to give him piece by piece and let him slowly kind of integrate into what Ben Johnson expects from him. They threw the fucking book at him, Kyle. They did, and early in the season he struggled. The very first game of the season was bad. We were there. They lost to the Vikings. He missed some passes that could have kept the drive going and won the game. But Caleb was the player that you expect him to be by the end of last year, which is why I think, guys, again, and Kyle, you're right. It's not like Caleb's not going anywhere, but this is a prove-it year to me. For a third-year quarterback who's been in the same system for the second year consecutive under a good head coach, a good play caller, and a lot of talent added to the offensive side of the football, even now, even when their defense was as bad as it was. I don't see this is Caleb. You've got to do it now. You got to fucking do it now.
For me, and yeah, and I like the J2K. Thanks for the stat. I never even saw that, but that's interesting. And I think part of that is because he was just getting more comfortable in Ben Johnson's offense. James says he sees 5,000 total yards for Caleb Williams. If he does that, he's definitely going to be in the MVP conversation. For me, when it comes to Caleb Williams, guys, it's the end of the day. I like what a couple people have said in the chat here. Can't play from behind all the time. Got to get more consistent. You know, when you're playing from behind all the time, the other team has the lead. Teams are going to tee off on your quarterback, and you don't get a chance to tee off on their quarterback because they're running a lot and we're passing too much. I agree with all that stuff. Caleb just has to get more consistent. At the end of the day, that's what it is, man. Caleb, you know that he has the hero ball in him. You know that he has the off-kilter stuff in him. You know that he is he has God-given talent. He's an athlete. We know all that stuff. That's all been proven. And I'd say we all agreed that the floor for Caleb is pretty high. The question is, where's the ceiling, right? Is Caleb going to be the best quarterback in the NFL? Is he Patrick Mahomes? Is he capable of winning 3 Super Bowls? I think if you talk about just solely off the talent and the fact that he has one of the best play callers in the NFL, Ben Johnson, yes. I think the answer is yes. Caleb just has to go out there and do it. That's it. He's got to go prove it. And right now, Vernon, you said it earlier when you were talking about him, the Bears have done everything in their power to eliminate every excuse they could possibly think of. I mean, this guy has one of the best outside of left tackle, which we've talked a ton about. And then, you talk about the number 3 receiver positions, Zavion Thomas.
And there's ways to Band-Aid that left tackle position.
But at the end of the day, like you said, they have spent a majority of the resources on this offense and trying to make Caleb Williams more comfortable and giving him a chance to be a MVP candidate.
And Kyle, not to mention,
there's no more excuses.
Press Taylor's been a really impactful coordinator, a coach in general on young quarterbacks. He made improved Trevor Lawrence's completion percentage from 59 to 65. I mean, they have literally done everything they can possibly do to make Caleb Williams the franchise quarterback that they're hoping they have here. And three interceptions in a playoff game, guys. We need more from that. We need more than that.
Well, I can tell you this: the future of this franchise rests on the shoulders of Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. This team is going to go as far as Caleb Williams will take them. If he becomes the guy we've all talked about, the guy we've seen glimpses of, the guy we think is ultimately he's going to become, I think the Bears are going to be in a perennial playoff team with a chance to win numerous Super Bowls. If he is who he was last season for the rest of his career, and he's around that 50-55% completion percentage, and he's missing too many open throws, and the ball placement's a little bit off, and that's just who Caleb is, then you're probably hoping for one Super Bowl, right? As a Bears fan, you're hoping to at least win one. Caleb needs to carry this team because, like you said, they had a lot of holes on defense, and they decided not to address a ton of them because they think they can outscore everybody. So It's up to Caleb now to go out there and do that. And I think that he is going to do that. I think he's going to live up to that, the pedigree, that the first overall pick and the cover of Madden and hero ball, Iceman, whatever you want to talk about. I think nobody expects more from Caleb Williams than Caleb Williams. I think Caleb Williams thinks he is going to be the best quarterback who ever played in the NFL. And whether he is or not, if he gets close to it, if he gets into the conversation with Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady and the guys we've talked about for the last 50 years, Dan Marino, all those great names, then there's a good chance that the Bears become one of those teams in America's team conversation. They become the Chiefs, where they're on prime time 7 times a year. They're constantly competing for a Super Bowl. The FanDuel and DraftKings and MGM constantly have them in the top 3 odds to win the Super Bowl in the NFC. Like,
people keep saying things like, "I can't bet against Caleb Williams." Like that's the kind of shit I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I think it's in them, and I think this year, Brendan, you're right. I think you want to talk about crucial years in the NFL. Year 3 for quarterbacks is absolutely massive, especially if it's the second year under a consistent play caller. This is going to be huge for Caleb. It's going to answer a lot of questions for Bears fans. And if this team comes out 8-9 by the end of the season, it's going to be heartbreaking, because that means that Caleb did not get better. It means he probably had around the same numbers he had last year, and that would destroy it, Bears fans. I think that would break their hearts. But I think at the end of the day, Caleb is a stud. I think he deserves that Madden cover, because I think he's must-see TV. I think that's the reason why the Bears-Packers games were the most viewed games of any games in the NFL last year. This guy, if the Bears are within 1 score with less than 2 minutes to go, you know that the Bears are in it. You know there's a good chance Caleb's going to win that game. He just needs to continue to build off what he's done so far. He needs to continue to get more comfortable in this offense. It needs to be more read and react rather than terminology and confusion and cadence and so much going on, because it's such a complex offense. I think the more that Caleb gets comfortable and the more he doesn't have to think so much and he could just react, I think he's going to end up being in the conversation for best quarterback in the NFL. I think it's coming. And I think the Bears fans are going to be pleasantly surprised with what they see this season, even after losing.
Well said, because he's at his best in read and react.
Yeah, and you can't take that out of him, that backyard football. You can't take that out of him, because that's where Caleb makes a living. And I think that's where he's so unpredictable for NFL defenses. But you also need him to play with more structure, and the structure of Ben Johnson's offense. And every once in a while, you heard Press Taylor say it numerous times this offseason, he's got to do less. And that's not to say we want him to throw for less yards, throw for less touchdowns, but not every play needs to be a pass 20, 30, 40 yards downfield. Sometimes you could just dump it off to Calvin guy, DeAndre Swift, Zavion Thomas, Luther Burden, and let them do the rest. Hit the open receiver, play within the timing of the offense, play within the structure of the offense, and good things will happen. And I think the more mature Caleb gets, the more of that stuff you're going to see, for sure. Anything else you want to talk about, Brandon?
Yeah, I do. Real quick, I just want to congratulate, and I don't know if anybody here watches, and I don't want to beat you up with this, guys, but I want to congratulate Team USA for that Friday win over Paraguay, and I do think that this is the best team, the best U.S. men's soccer team that we've had probably in my lifetime personally. I think they have a real shot to actually make some noise here. The next game is Friday against Australia at 2 p.m. Guys, go USA. I'm all things USA. Whenever we compete against other countries in a global competition, I root. I love the World Cup. I've been watching all these soccer games, but again, I want to congratulate them on that win. And it was a team they were supposed to beat. That goal from Gio Reyna at the end of that game outside the box. I mean, good Lord. This team looks good. They're coached well. They play solid defense. Their goalie actually only faced 1 shot on goal and he allowed it. But good things to come, guys. They're going to get out of this group. This USA team is going to make some noise in this World Cup, I believe. And after USA hockey team just beat Canada, what a fuck. And that the American player won the fight last night, guys. I don't know if you watched. It was a great fight. The American player beat the Mexican player in the final fight there at the White House UFC event. What a hell of a year it would mean for American sports if we came out and won ourselves a World Cup this year, even competed for one. So keep watch. For all those, and Vanderstar, you're saying this here now, and I want to say this, guys. If you're not a World Cup guy, you're not a soccer guy, watch this USA team. They really are. It's fun. It's exciting. These guys are good. They got some really quality players on this team, and yeah, again, just congratulations to them on a big victory, 4-1. I expect them to win 3-0. They won 4-1, so that the score differential is what it comes down to, guys, when you're advancing in your group stages in the World Cup. So the more goals you score, the more it's going to benefit you. Rana scored a goal in literally the last second before the whistle was blown. Very exciting game. I'm excited about the World Cup, Kyle. I don't know if you watch it. I don't know if you care about it, but
I'm not. I'll admit, you guys, I'm not a soccer guy. I mean, the World Cup is probably the most soccer I watch, but it's only because I work at a bar and it's on TV. But as you said earlier, everybody in the chat says breaking news: Bruce, Mikey, James, Vandershaw. I'm all for anytime USA is competing against other countries. Go USA.
These three guys, Javinho Des,
where I live. I'm a Patriot man.
Balogun.
Doesn't mean I hate countries.
This is the best front court. These guys, they're really talented fucking players, and they have a chance to make some real noise.
Yeah, real quick, man. Everybody in the chat, you know, there's so many breaking news. Bruce, as always. Mikey's here, as always. James here, as always. Vandashar, we appreciate you being here today, man. Phil, I hope your hip's feeling better, man. I know it's probably going to be a long recovery process, but hope every day gets a little bit easier. J2K was in the house. You guys, Dustin was on the show earlier. If you guys weren't here, True Program in the house, man. Ron here, help me out. Paul Martin was here. Everybody here. Sorry if I missed you. Erica, always on our shows. We appreciate you guys so much. Thank you.
Erica,
if you guys
how's
haven't,
that Cubs game going? Kyle, you got it on?
Yeah, it's 1-0 off a PCA leadoff home run, but the Cubs just had men on first and third with one out, and they couldn't get anybody home. So kind of some of the same old stuff here. And Colorado sucks, guys. So they should be beating the shit out of this team. Dante was here today, man. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Yeah, Dante's wife.
Cornelius, thanks for being here, man. I've only seen you a handful of times.
Thank your wife for watching the show, for humoring our bullshit.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't already, I'm going to sound like annoying as I always do at the end of the show here, but please hit that like and subscribe button, man. That does so much for us, especially on YouTube. If you go over to YouTube channel 4-Star Chicago Sports, just hit that like button. Helps us out tremendously. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Sean, Jason, and I will be here on the Barely There podcast Wednesday at 7 p.m. as always. So tune in. We'll have an interesting show for you guys, some stuff we want to talk about. And we love you. We appreciate you. We hope you guys take care of yourselves so you can take care of each other. And we'll see you Wednesday. Thank you so much, guys.
Fair down.